Welcome, Ultras and Switchy sisters alike, to episode 3 of the weekly episodic gaming adjacent livestream podcast show. This is Switch to Ultra. We've gotten some distance from the craziness of the last couple weeks. April in general has been somehow simultaneously stuffed with news and drowned in shadows of misinformation. We did say we would cover all of the Treehouse footage slowly over time, beginning with Mario Kart World, as is the most pertinent and also interesting, and then working our way through the other games. We'll see how that holds up, because it really depends on how much we want to talk about the games that aren't these. And tonight's video podcast is all about Donkey Kong Bananza. Welcome to the Switch to Ultra family. I am your co-parent, BH Ultra.
And I am your co-parent, Switchy.
And I would like to extend an olive branch to all the YouTubers I've accidentally created beef with over the last week or so. I don't know why this keeps happening. I just post. Sometimes you don't think of what you post, you just post.
Did you bury the hatchet with Chazington?
I tried, I think. I mean, like, I think there's a disconnect between how serious, like, viewers think people take it and how serious, like, people actually take it. And I think I'll just say this, if I made a video and somebody strongly disagreed with my opinion and then posted, like, in a funny jokey way to be like, hey, I disagree with this, I don't think I would be like, man, this person fucking sucks, I hate this person as a person. Like, I think disagreeing is kind of just, I mean, disagreeing when it comes to movies, especially when it's like Marvel movies, is fun. Like, discussing these things are fun, but I think there is a crop of people that take this stuff very seriously, and they're like, oh shit, this person doesn't have same opinion as this person. This just means they can never be in a room together ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know a lot of the details.
I mean, that's basically it. I'm making this out to be a bigger thing than it is. I think it's funny, ultimately. Okay. But I don't think, I would just say, like, if someone, I would not push everyone, but rather encourage people, if they disagreed with me, to, like, say it, to make a video, or just, like, let me know in the comments. I'm not one person to be like, oh, this person in the comments disagrees with my opinion. Well, what the fuck do they know? Because I'm just a guy. I don't think anyone should really parrot my opinions on anything. But if you thought that YouTubers took differences on media analysis to heart, then you would be mistaken.
I agree.
Okay.
I don't take it to heart.
Yeah. Because ultimately it's just for fun. But we are going to mainly cover Donkey Kong Bananza today. And this day's a little different because today, you actually did most of the watching of the Donkey Kong Bananza Treehouses, whereas I prepared a whole thing about Mario Kart. And I don't really, at least going into the Treehouse footage, I don't really know what to expect. I have bookmarked a number of tweets. This is what news has come to, is just like showing tweets. Although I do think it's an important time capsule to discuss this game. There's a lot more information. Just from the gameplay level, I'm not so sure. That being said, although it is going to be mainly dedicated to Donkey Kong Bananza, there is, I mean, as time marches forward, there is some information we have since the previous week. And again, I want to reiterate what I said previously, which is that although, like, I'm on Nintendo's side in the sense that, like, this misinformation is getting like, a lot of it's very ridiculous. But also, maybe it wouldn't be this ridiculous and confusing if there was solid information out there. Because we know that on Tuesday or Thursday, maybe, there's still going to be a Mario Kart Direct. However, where we stand now, we do not know when the pre-order date for the Nintendo Switch 2 in America is, or Canada. We could talk about that as well. I have some information here. And also, we don't know if the release date has been changed for the console, because it has for China, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, has it?
That's what I've heard. What I've heard, again, we're reporting the hard-hitting news, is that there was, they announced a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs, with the exception of China. Everyone's really mad at China for whatever reason. I don't know. I think they seem pretty cool. I think we're going to start doing the podcast live from here on. If this whole thing goes up in smoke, we're going over there. We're going to be like
Guangzhou.
Yeah, what was it, Brock Baker, where he did Chinese influencers?
Really? I didn't know that.
Didn't he? Wait, am I thinking of the right person?
You might be right. I just wouldn't know.
Yeah, he was the guy who made song parodies, and then like people said like, oh man, China bought him, but like I don't know how true that is. But like he did just start making. I don't like to call it propaganda, but I mean that's probably what it was. Because again, I have no larger beef with China. I don't know shit about that at all. I'm just reporting on tariffs. It is interesting to see gamers, like we were just talking about people we were watching talking about other things that normally just talk about Nintendo games or whatever, not like being radicalized per se, but like posting and being like posting about tariffs and international affairs, which is something they've never done before.
It's like suddenly like Nintendo fans are really passionate about global trade and the logistics of global trade.
It directly affects them. I hope this radicalizes a lot of gamers. And you've seen like right-wing grifter characters who are normally like, man, they made the woke mind virus has ruined gaming, and then as soon as like it actually does directly affect them, they're like, listen, you don't need a Switch 2. That's not that important. This is for the betterment of America.
Yeah, I saw a few people say that. Maybe even my friends were like, are you really getting a Switch 2? I'm like, obviously. For me, it doesn't cut that deep. Like if they don't change it from the 500 figure, like. I mean, I get why some people are kind of pissed off about it. It's,
Well, now that there's a 90-day pause on tech tariffs, which I choose to believe was directly impacted by Nintendo calling the White House directly. I choose to believe that.
You choose to believe it.
Right. It's probably true. Let's say it's 100% true. That is a Switch 2 Ultra guarantee. That... Okay. I feel
Nintendo made some calls.
Yeah, they get shit done. Listen, they called us. You ever wonder how we got that bingo card across the board? We know people in high places. But where it's at right now, we still do not know when the pre-orders are going to go live here, and I think it's the same thing for Canada. However, I could just go over to this board right now because we have a lot of stuff to get through. I have a lot of links open here. Ignore this one. This isn't important, but... I did, however, I could talk about Barnyard video now that it's out there. We live in a post Barnyard video teaser trending. The trending page says impeach an American idiot. Oh, BDSP. Wait, why is that trending?
And BDSP.
Anyway,
people are still arguing about Pokemon 3 years later.
Hopefully they make it better for the Switch 2. But this here is apparently on Nintendo's website because you can sign up to get notified when pre-orders will go live. I don't know if you did that yet, but to sign up for, I don't know what the term would be, but like first come, it says first come, first serve. It's a lot like the raffle, I suppose, but I don't know. It's just a matter of, I would still rather like pre-order through other distributors like that of Walmart or GameStop or Best Buy, any of those. That I would probably want to go to physically, but I imagine you could pre-order through this website. Anyway, this here on the website says Nintendo account holders in the US and Canada who are at least 18 years old are eligible to register. The first batch of invitations will go out starting May 8th, 2025. So that just means you are invited to pre-order. And I thought going into this first, they're like, oh no, they said that they're going to crack down on like scalpers. Like this won't be nearly as bad. But the more I hear information like this, like, oh man, you have to like get in the raffle on a first come, first serve basis and be invited to pre-order is concerning. I'm going to try and get in when I can. But like we said last week, like once it's taken out of your hands, it's kind of a freeing, liberating feeling where it's like, well, I can't do anything anyway. What do you think is the likelihood of the pre-orders in America and Canada like beginning on May 8th instead of April? I think it was going to be April 9th.
I mean, it's kind of annoying, especially given that after that there's only a month to get for the console to come out. I mean, it seems a little bit late, I mean, to be fair, I'm not going to try and pre-order it. I'm probably going to try and get it. So.
Right. From my perspective, like, I never really cared about the, like, definitive editions, that I know there's not a stigma, but, like, that's the meme, is, like, why would you pre-order that doesn't do anything for you? But if it's a product that you're, like, kind of, maybe, it's possible that it could sell out, then you do want to pre-order it so they hold it for you. That is the purpose of pre-ordering.
That's the reason I've never pre-ordered, like, really at all. Like, I've never like pre-ordered a Nintendo game. I don't even think Smash Bros. Or I think I did pre-order Smash Bros. Ultimate, but and I guess I've missed out on some bonuses because of that. But the only reason I want to pre-order is because I don't really have faith that if I just walk in on was it June 4th, June 5th, somewhere, whatever the date is, I don't think I'm gonna have a Switch for me. You know what I mean? So I just that's the reason I want to do it.
So much of the console launch experience that I haven't done like ever really is that I wanted to be in the line for like that midnight release, you know? And like that still like ups your odds of getting it, but the pre-order is important. So what I'm saying here ultimately is that I think if what the official Nintendo US page is saying, if invitations go out May 8th, that doesn't necessarily confirm that pre-orders are going to begin May 8th, but I think that's probably a safe bet. Initial invitation emails will be delivered on a first-come, first-served basis to eligible registrants. I've never seen that word before. That's awesome. Who meet the priority criteria. Invitees will have 72 hours from the time when the email is sent to complete their purchase. So, I mean, if you haven't done this yet, I would go to their website. You have until allegedly May 8th. Anyway, YouTube chat is saying, I've pre-ordered my Nintendo Switch 2 console. What country are you in?
Would that be European, maybe?
Ooh, maybe. I don't know my European bros out there. Do I have any more pertinent information? I mean, there is some. But that's the main information when it comes to... We're still trying to figure out how to get our hands on the Switch 2. It seems like they pushed it back because of tariffs, and now it's saying there's a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs, and maybe they're pushing back on tech tariffs in general. They're slowly realizing that their decision and idea was stupid and dumb. And I don't know if they'll go outright. It seems like... I'm obviously not on their side at all in a little bit, but like going into their heads, I imagine all they care about is China. Like that's always the one they're talking about. That's always the one they're screaming about. That's always the one they're mad about. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past this cabinet to get China and Japan confused, but I think that they manufacture Switch 2s in Vietnam. Nintendo does that. They set up shops there. I'm pretty sure. That's what I've heard. Again, there's no like, I wasn't there, so I can't look in front of me and see it. But I've seen people being like, oh, all they have to do is like set up manufacturers in America. And there's simply not enough time. And also they shouldn't bend the knee because this entire situation is stupid.
Also, that would require there being a manufacturing infrastructure that costs the same amount in America that can be set up in like 2 months.
Not to get political, but like America can't do this. We can't make products internally and only use those. All of your fucking smartphones and your TVs and your refrigerators and your cars, internet infrastructure, your satellites, even your fucking eggs that come in bags or boxes, like it all comes from elsewhere. I don't understand why we have to go all out and be like, no, we should make them here. Why? We haven't been doing that forever. This benefits no one. Sorry to get political on Switch 2 Ultra.
Switch 2 Ultra.
Unless you have a different take on this. I feel like we're probably across the board on this thing.
Not really.
Yeah. But also we're not ill-informed, but rather like if you want to talk to an expert about this, it wouldn't be us. Welcome to the Switch 2 Ultra podcast. This is where we talk about video games. So ultimately, I think this distracted from the price point. Do you think there's a chance that they still lower the price and eat it as a loss? Because there's a sequence of events here. They do the direct, people are excited. They hide the price point of it was $450 and then $500 with Mario Kart, and Mario Kart itself is $80. People blew that out of proportion, said all the games are $90, so on and so forth. Regardless, people still believe that $450 is a lot for a console. There was that initial pushback, and then tariffs ironically sort of softened the blow, and they're like, oh shit, we may actually need to boost this price even more than the egregious price that people already disagreed with. But then due to this supposed... Well, that's the thing about a 90-day pause. I mean, we can hope. They can roll the dice and be like, well, maybe the entire thing will be paused. Maybe they'll realize this is a bad idea. But if they don't, like, if the tariffs start up again in 90 days, although there are multiple things that have been pushed back multiple times, if they do start up in 90 days, will Nintendo want to run that risk? Because then they're like, oh shit, well, now they're going to cost more, evidently. It would, however, cause more people to rush out and be like, not only just with the pre-order and the stock shortage, but also there's incentive to run out and get a Switch 2 immediately because, like, hey, you never know when it's going to get more expensive.
Yeah.
So I think most likely scenario is, or rather best case, I said last time best case scenario is that the price stays the same, that it's still $450 to $500 depending on if you get the bundle. But I think
I doubt they'll change it, to be honest. All things
just
considered.
In general, in either direction.
Yeah, I think Nintendo, especially with something like this, I don't think they're gonna hop between price points this late. I mean, I guess if they're really if they do go through with the tariffs on Japan, I could see that affecting the profit they make off the console.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if they just eat it or try and eat it if they can.
Right, just to get an install base for their games.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, selling consoles at a loss to sell games at a profit isn't always the worst decision. I mean, I feel like that's probably been done in the past.
Oh, Tale as old as time. I feel like they always do it. Not Nintendo in general, but just like most console manufacturers.
So it depends on like the specific bottom line they have on what they actually make off of each Switch sold and what they'll have to pay to get Switches in the United States. That being said, it seems really dicey to outright say, never mind, guys, the Switch is a 500 or 550. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess they don't do that, or at the very unless I don't know. Unless it's really, really harmful to them, like they're losing like $100-$150 for every Switch they sell.
Right.
Like that. Yeah.
I've heard people say like, oh, they've probably seen like the very loud protest and feedback about the price, and they will change it, they will lower it. But every time Nintendo has like lowered a price due to pushback, it's been after the fact. It's not going to be preemptively. Yeah, they did it with the 3DS after like it came out, it launched, and then like 6 months in, they're like, this thing is not selling, so they like slashed the price.
Oh yeah. I guess that kind of scenario I could see happening.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if they cut it down, it's not going to be before June 5th. I think likely what could happen is they see that it doesn't sell well on June 5th, but also people are assuming that's going to happen. I think regardless, it's going to sell well.
Yeah, I think the Switch is just too big that it's gonna get. Well, actually, I don't know.
Sell well for a video game console, but it's impossible to compare it to the Switch 1 because that was like massive.
The Switch 1, I think, was a whole new horizon for Nintendo. I'm always like surprised when I remember just how big the Switch 1 was, and just how big Nintendo is as a whole these days. I mean, it's not like they were like obscure when I was a kid,
right?
But it just seems like the scale of their popularity is up. Or I don't know, maybe not.
Well, that's what eases my worries, and why I'm more gung-ho about like them kind of taking a loss on this one to like learn from it, is that in the Wii U era, like people not buying Wii U's, the Wii U selling poorly meant that like, oh shit, like Nintendo could go out of business or just become a software developer that makes third-party games for other consoles.
I remember much people would say that was going to happen back
on the Mario Odyssey on the PS4. I think that we're at a point now. Ironically, this is the argument that people use like to complain about Pokemon, and it is a valid argument. That Nintendo is no longer just a video game distributor, producer, creator. They have theme parks, they have museums, they have entertainment venues in animated films and live action films. So much so that I think if a console fails, I'm actually more optimistic about that, because then what's going to happen is if a console fails, they're like, okay, well, we need to sell more consoles. And that's the idea, right, under capitalism, is that like, oh, it's breeds innovation. And that the belief is that Nintendo's gotten too big for their britches, whatever. I still think the divide between the business aspect and the gameplay aspect, or rather the game creation aspect, is a line that not a lot of people understand or cross, as they just view Nintendo as this amorphous blob. Some people even think that like Nintendo are the one making Pokemon games. They're like, man, they've gotten real greedy. It's like, they're not behind this at all.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point.
My stance is always going to be the same, that Nintendo, at least like the Nintendo of now, always makes good games. And I've saw people comparing the Switch 2 launch to like the Wii U launch. And while there are like harrowing comparisons, I think people underestimate or rather forget how few games the Wii U had that were like worth getting. Like Mario Maker had its moment.
There were people playing Zombie U. And Mario Maker was 2015. So like what we had when the Wii U came out was like New Super Mario Bros. U. And I remember the day I first got that game. When I first got the Wii U, I sat down, I plugged it, and I was playing New Super Mario Bros. U, and I was just thinking to myself, man, why isn't this as magical as the Wii? And it's because the day I got the Wii, I got Mario Galaxy, Wii Sports, Mario Kart, like all those games.
That's my major thing.
And meanwhile,
every other console has had a major or mainline 3D Zelda and 3D Mario. And granted, with an asterisk, the Wii U did as well. But, 3D World is not what people wanted, and Breath of the Wild, by the time that came out, nobody wanted to play it on the Wii U, unless you straight up could not get a Switch. Yeah. And I think that, again, I don't think even in its lifetime statistically that the Switch 2 will match prices of the Switch 1. I think they would need to, I think a miracle would need to happen for that to happen. I think the Switch 1 was such, lightning in a bottle that it really can't be replicated. But I don't think it's going to sell poorly. I just think it will sell worse than the Switch 1. But, however, we were talking about this before, and this is actually a good transition to the topic of today's video, is the non-traditional, the lack, rather, of traditional 3D Mario and 3D Zelda on the Wii U. And what mirrors that a little bit is the release or the showing off of Donkey Kong Bonanza. And we were watching someone else's video before, and there's a level of copium to be like, okay, yeah, this is cool, but when's the 3D Mario coming out? And I saw people immediately following the directs being like, okay, this is cool, but I'm sure 3D Mario will be the next year. And Nintendo has been very tight-lipped about who is making this Donkey Kong game. I think it's fair to say that this is the 3D Mario team, this is the game they've been working on for a while, and also, this is the equivalent of the 3D Mario. It's like the Switch 2's Luigi's Mansion. GameCube launched with Luigi's Mansion, and eventually we did get a 3D Mario on that console, but it launched, and that was supposed to be the Mario equivalent. They're like, oh, this is a Mario character, so it'll sell like a launch title Mario game. And it wasn't just us, and most people went into that first direct assuming that, okay, the two major hitters will be Mario Kart and 3D Mario. And that sort of happened. But now we have a 3D Donkey Kong, so we can watch back the trailer here. I want to see what the YouTube chat says real quick. We all want Paper Mario Color Splash 2. I love 3D World and Super Mario U, but oh boy, did the Wii U fall flat back then. See, those are games that I have respect for now, but they just, at the time, they weren't what I wanted. Having played 3D World
still came out a year after, so we didn't have 3D World for a year.
Yeah. So, but having played 3D World when it came out on the Switch, I had a better understanding of okay, now in a post-Mario Odyssey world, I am more understanding of this game. Same with Pokemon Let's Go. At the time, I'm like, this isn't a traditional Pokemon RPG. I don't like this. And then since we've had more traditional Pokemon RPGs, then I kind of warmed up to it for what it is rather than what it isn't. But especially now where it seems like the Switch 2 seems bare bones in the sense that it has two games or two major games, but I think Nintendo views it as more than that. I think they view this new Breath of the Wild, this new Tears of the Kingdom, and then Legend ZA and Metroid as selling points for the Switch 2, whereas most people are like, oh, this is just a Switch 1 game that's backwards compatible. And we don't know what games are going to have Switch 2 editions, but if people are clamoring for a more traditional 3D Mario, I think, I'm going to say this now, this is an insane reach, but if I slam dunk it, I will be regaled as a hero. I think it is more likely that we get more Mario Odyssey content than it is that we get a fully fledged 3D Mario. I'll say that.
I mean, it is definitely strange that Mario Odyssey, even the time it came out, was this one huge Nintendo AAA title that just never had any paid DLC.
Yeah.
Is it Breath of the Wild had it? Xenoblade 2, I don't know if Xenoblade 2 counts, but Breath of the Wild had it. I guess Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had it. Well, that took a while, but that's also a different example.
Splatoon 2 and 3 were updated concurrently. Even the sports games got little updates over time. It is strange. And we know that
Nintendo Switch Sports had more live support than Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, they added basketball a year and a half later. But we were talking before the cast as well about okay, if I think Nintendo maybe overestimates how many people will see Donkey Kong on the cover of a game and be like, oh, I have to get this. Because Donkey Kong is a popular character. Your average layman knows Donkey Kong, but when they think of Donkey Kong, they think of the arcade game. I think very few gamers have played a Donkey Kong Country. It doesn't help their case that the last Donkey Kong game they released was a port of a 3DS game that was a port of a Wii U game. I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot. However, they now have Big AJ and the Rizzler, their official Donkey Kong influencers. So I think it could help.
Yeah, I guess there is a big push for Donkey Kong to be kind of rehabilitated. That's the word that came to my head. That's not really the right word.
He just got out of rehab.
Just pushed forward as I mean, it's a part of Mario. It's always been a part of Mario, but it seems like they're trying to make it more in line with Mario than it used to be. You kind of see that with a few other Mario characters. Daisy became a mainline character with Wonder, for example, and that really surprised me because before that she was always just a side game character. And I remember in like 2014 Smash Bros. Discourse, everyone said Daisy couldn't be in Smash Bros. Because she wasn't even a mainline Mario character,
Right.
And now she is.
I know they said that about
Pauline
Waluigi
too, and actually that's kind of they say that about Waluigi too. Pauline too is also a character that seems to have some new motion behind her. They're really trying to kind of make her one of the big, Mario girls.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like in general they are redesigning or rethinking a lot of the Mario characters and how they fit into the whole picture and stuff like that, which is really interesting to me.
She had one hit song and then never sang anything else. She's always going back to that. She's a one-hit wonder. Every game she's in, she sings "Jump Up Superstar." Like, girl, release a second song. But I do have a timeline of events here, but I suppose I could jump ahead right now since you just mentioned Pauline 2. It's interesting that you say Pauline 2. We're gonna jump over here to the this website right here with these moving graphics is gonna make my computer explode. But this is, you'll notice by the text here. I wish I had my translator on hand. You can hear my computer. The Korean website, the official Nintendo of Korea website, with a lot of information about Donkey Kong Bonanza. I believe they have since removed... Oh, I can't scroll up or down anymore. All right. The website's gotten to me. I think the rocks are supposed to break. I've never seen... Oh! He broke through. There he is. I was waiting for that to happen. Okay, they don't show it here. Villains, bananas, so on and so forth. Anyway, this was an image that was accidentally leaked, quote-unquote, shown off on the official Nintendo of Korea website, and it features, as you can see here, a child version of Pauline wearing like a kid's dress, maybe, holding on to the back of new DK's. By the way, this new DK design, like the way, because he's doing the angry eyes, it does look like old DK. I think this is the closest he's looked like to the previous DK in a while. Page has been updated to remove the banner, but it's archived. Weird. Okay, this is on archive.org.
It might not load right because of this like JavaScript bullshit, but
maybe. Well, whatever. Anyway, I have no...
I was willing to go try it.
I have no clue. Yeah, it says Pauline-esque character. And that's all I've heard so far, really. I don't know what this could be, but this isn't shown in any of the trailers. What I'm more curious about is that I don't think we won't have a major Donkey Kong Direct or any additional information until the game comes out in July. Because like we have a Mario Kart Direct planned. But this, I don't know if this is supposed to be a spoiler, like, oh, this happens in the game at some point, or if they were going to reveal it in a second trailer. But I have no clue what this could be. I've heard two different takes. Either that this is like... Well, there's three. The third take is that this isn't Pauline at all. It's just like a weird coincidence, which I find the funniest. Or Pauline has been transformed into a kid by something. Or this is Pauline's kid.
I heard some people saying that, but I was like, I'm like the Pauline turning into a kid thing. I guess I just don't like that idea, just full stop. Like, I just don't like it. I don't know. I don't know if I could say it's because I find it likely or unlikely. I think I just don't like it.
Yeah. Or... that this game, Donkey Kong Bonanza, is set in the past, and the reason...
I don't like that theory.
Okay. Do you have a theory for this? Because like that's all I heard. Yeah. We have no clue.
I could see it being in the past. I mean, I guess some people were saying that wouldn't make sense because Cranky Kong's there, and there's always that old kind of idea that Cranky Kong is the past Donkey Kong. I don't even know if that's actually canon or it's just kind of a thing they hinted at.
In the movie, frankly, if we remember, he said Donkey Kong is Cranky's son. So we would have to go... Okay. That people don't really care about like the lore in the Mario movies, but like that is the first time we have officially seen or confirmed in the Mario movie. I know it's a different continuity, quote unquote, from the games, but also like I would imagine anyone at Nintendo like still views, like if Miyamoto wrote the Bible on Mario for that movie, I would imagine the rest of the games have to adhere to that, even if it's not the same universe. But we see stuff like Peach being from Earth and then going to the Mushroom Kingdom and becoming a queen, and she doesn't know who her parents are. Similarly, when Donkey Kong in that movie is like, oh yeah, Cranky is my dad, or calls him dad, we would have to assume that it's like, it's not just, oh, movie Donkey Kong is his son, whereas game Donkey Kong is his grandson. No, I would assume moving forward that we're just going off of movie continuity.
Oh, I'm curious. I mean, this is I don't know if you have the answer off the top of your head, but was it never made canon in the country games or anything that Cranky Kong was Donkey Kong's son? I mean the other way around, Donkey Kong was Cranky Kong's son?
I thought it was always that it was his grandson.
I forgot, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I've
But I
seen
mean,
like game theories and whatnot, but I never made it far enough in a game to actually find any of that. I'm sure it's somewhere. But the reason this has changed, I think, is because this is, like we said, they're being tight-lipped to be like, oh, who's making this game? It's the 3D Mario team, which is a Nintendo in-house team. The previous Donkey Kong games, I don't know, what's the last Donkey Kong game made by Nintendo? Like, just developers at Nintendo. Because Retro
was there
Studios...
ever one?
Yeah, I mean, probably.
I mean, maybe like Mario versus Donkey Kong, but that's still probably like a different studio.
Yeah, or maybe like the Game Boy ones. Yeah, but for a while, they were made by Rareware, and then they were made by Retro Studios. Also, while we're here, we might as well... It's not, like, integral, and we're not going to go deep into it, but there was a Retro Studios leak of just, like... There seem to be gaming leaks every now and then of just, like, emails back and forth, personal information, but also... What was the main one? Is that there were development builds for Splatoon and ARMS, and there's also just, like, Nintendo Switch infrastructure. They're using this image of Samus, but we know that Retro had been working on some other game before Nintendo came to them hat in hand, and they're like, we fucked up Metroid Prime 4, can you guys make it please? And that's where we're at right now. So that's the information we have about Smalline. We have... Apparently also the same, shout out You're Old on Twit. The Korean website also showed off this image of Rainbow Road, which wasn't shown off in any other version of the Mario Kart World website. So it seems like they're just leaking information back and forth. I want to know, or rather I'll ask you, I'll postulate this. Do you think this is something that was going to be a reveal trailer, or do you think this was supposed to be a reveal that happens in the game?
I think there was supposed to be a reveal in some sort of trailer or something. And the reason I think so is because why do they have so much art for it? I mean, definitely not. I think I would wager that regardless of anything, they wanted us to know about Smalline or whatever before the game came out, because I don't know why they'd make that promotional art otherwise.
Yeah.
Unless it was something that they wanted to reveal like day one. But even then, I don't know. It doesn't seem like, this seems like the kind of thing that they would hold off on after the first trailer, because they did the exact same thing with Cappy. Like the first Mario Odyssey trailer, you didn't see Cappy at all. You saw him throwing around his hat or whatever, but you didn't see the eyes or anything. And then during the E3 trailer, and this I'm going somewhere with here, you saw the eyes show up right after. I think it was the T-Rex that ran out, and then Mario jumps out, and his hat has the eyes on them. And I think what I think they might be doing or might have planned to do, and this is also kind of admittedly wishful thinking, is they might have something in line for June or the summer, and like just a bunch of trailers, like a direct or something. Maybe not. I don't know. There's a lot of arguments that they wouldn't do that, but let's say for example they did. I think that would be the perfect opportunity to be like, oh, also the rock person is actually Pauline somehow or whatever.
Yeah.
And that seems like a thing they'd want to do as like a second reveal, just to kind of tease us a little bit, I guess.
Where we're at, we'll jump into the footage after this, but that raises an interesting point. Do you think all of the Nintendo games that come out this year, 2025, do you think we've seen all of them? Because prior to you saying that, I would have assumed that, like, oh, everything that's coming out we know about. But I guess it is still spring of 2025.
It is still spring, and I think it depends. I mean, the fact that they showed off so many games that were coming out on the Switch so late and so ahead of time makes me want to say yes, we've seen everything. But I think there's a decent chance they might have stuff planned for the Switch too that they have in mind for a holiday release. Because I'm thinking, what games do we know about on the Switch 2 so far? Because at least first party adjacent games. Because we know Mario Kart World, that's coming out in June with the console. Donkey Kong Bonanza is coming out in July. Do we have a release date for Air Riders?
I think it said holiday 2025, did it? Or did it just say 2025? Because
I said 2025.
Dragon Drive said summer 25. So if they want to do the one a month thing that they've been doing for a while, that could come out in August. But I also think that, like I said earlier, it's not... I mean, before the previous years when there's like, oh, there's always a major Nintendo thing every month. Some of those months were like a game update or something being added to Nintendo Switch Online. So I think one of these months, or likely most of these months, will be, oh, the Switch 2 edition of this game. Because as far as I know, the console launches with, as long as first-party assets, it goes Mario Kart. Is there a second launch? I think it's just Mario Kart, and then it launches with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom
Oh, the tour.
Oh yeah, Welcome Tour, of course. Yeah, those, and then they said Dragon Drive is in the summer, and this is in July. And I don't know why if that's the summer, why they wouldn't say that was also July, so maybe that's August. And then, again, we do not have solid release dates for Legends ZA and Metroid Prime 4. I think there is a shot that there's another Direct. I don't know if it's going to be particularly in June, but I mean, that's when the Summer Games Fest happens. Yeah. That's when information... They normally have Directs in June. I think they have every year since 2017.
June seems a little wishful. But I mean, unless they want to wait on it or whatever, I could see. I think June is the most likely thing if they are going to do a Direct this summer, or potentially could be in early July because Donkey Kong Bonanza is coming out July 17th. Okay. So if, for example, if they want to do the whole Pauline reveal somewhere, I assume it would be at least a couple weeks before the game comes out. So it could theoretically be just early July or something. But I don't know. I mean, admittedly, that's just me guessing.
Yeah, I mean, if it is in the summer. Because if we're going off the assumption, once the summer is over, there's only September, October, November, December. That's 4 months. And there are multiple games. We know Legend ZA is Holiday 2025. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, or just Metroid Prime Beyond, is still just as 2025. And those are games that need release dates, obviously a substantial amount of time before they come out. So assuming that Pokemon is November and Metroid is September, October, something, because I like to have a big game in October, they would need to announce that in the summer, at the very latest at the tail end of the summer.
Yeah. I think there's also one other reason I think that this is definitely not the only Direct we have this year. Yeah, I would go as far as to say that is because we haven't seen any actual gameplay of Kirby Air Riders. I assume they'd want to show that off at some point before the game comes out, and the only kind of window we have is 2025.
Right.
That could mean either that, I mean, they might have they ever just showed off that kind of information outside of a Direct? I assume that's definitely not their usual style.
They've done it before, but it wasn't it was some game. It was one of the smaller ones where instead of having a Direct, they just showed off a bunch of trailers on Twitter. It may have been the Thousand Year Door remake, but I guess most of that information is already commonplace.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, circling back to the original question, if there's another Direct, they could show off indie games and third party and whatnot. But if we're just seeing information on games we already know, there's got to be an announcement in there that we aren't familiar with yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's not super uncommon for there to be just no games announced during Directs. Or one or two.
Yeah.
So I could see them maybe holding something out for December or October or whatever. And it's not a super big thing, but it's just another thing that they're kind of holding out to announce.
I gotta say, I obviously love the Smash Directs because Smash gives you a lot of information. Even though some of the Smash Directs, there were 2 Ultimate Directs, and the second one was full of, so much, oh, this is the data folder, this is options, they really needed to pad that out. But ever since that happened, I suppose ever since the success of the August one, there have been oh, this is the Mario Maker Direct, and the Animal Crossing Direct, and the Pikmin Direct. And now that we're doing this show, obviously we want to report on as much information as possible. But before, when I was going back to those Directs, I never wanted to watch them because I'm man, this game comes out in a couple weeks. Why would I want to know everything about it before getting into the game?
Same.
But I do think there is still more information about Mario Kart that we don't know. And there has been information, or rather theory, speculation that's happened in between weeks. But this is the Donkey Kong Bonanza episode. Do you want to say your piece, what you were about to say, before we hop into this Donkey Kong footage?
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of the Direct for this game. Though I guess on some level, I understand why they do it, because I know whenever there's a game they kind of talk about for 7 minutes on a Direct, people get kind of fussy about it. Me included in the past.
Oh, of course.
But I don't know. I mean, I think that sometimes it seems like they milk it a little bit more than they should, because trying to turn into a live event is sometimes, I don't know, a little annoying to me. But I don't know. It shouldn't bother me so much, and I guess it doesn't. But I don't know.
I just don't view them as full Directs. Really I find them kind of boring. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot about Mario Kart, especially now. I think this is the most important single game Direct for a while, because again, there's so much up in the air when it comes to Mario Kart specifically. Yeah. That we're all waiting with bated breath to be okay, has the release date changed? Has the price changed? Has any of this or Switch 2 release? There's actually a good opportunity to say that we have the last 3 weeks have been doing this every Monday. The next 2 weeks after this, because we're going to be busy, are going to both be Super Tuesday episodes, which is the same time, same place, but instead of Monday, they will be Tuesday. And then after that, there will be 4 traditional Mondays before the Switch 2 release. So 6 weeks, basically. 6 more of these shows after this one. Really gotta find stuff. We're gonna have that whole 3-hour stream dedicated to Drag and Drive. Chat was saying excited for Drag and Drive. The more I when I first saw the gameplay, I'm like, this is really cool. But the more I see people playing it, I'm like, I don't want to. That doesn't look fun to me. Is the constant pulling back of the Joy-Con?
Yeah. That I didn't want to say it during the direct, and I guess I didn't care enough to say it. But that's kind of a limiting factor for me. I don't think I'm gonna enjoy that.
It's more and more people I've seen like on the Treehouse. So we'll get into the Donkey Kong Treehouse. Let's watch this 2.5-minute trailer. Have you gathered any important intel from this trailer? Other than you could obviously tell these are the Odyssey developers just by the way it looks. And I've seen some people say that this is the Odyssey engine. That's likely, but I wouldn't be able to look at this and be like, yep, that's Odyssey's engine for sure. Were there any other side Nintendo games that were made in the Odyssey engine?
Not that I know of. I assume not.
Minecart area. I mean, this part a little bit changes that trajectory. That just the way this is such a very specific detail to notice. But yeah, the way the wind is moving the grass and the way the wind is blowing, I'm like, okay, that is reminiscent of Odyssey. But I don't think that necessarily
I don't know. I'm just lying to myself when I say it reminds me of the engine. I think it's just the general art direction and kind of style of doing things. That's like, oh, that's Odyssey.
Could be a fully new engine. There's also, you could see it in the background.
Actually, they probably would need to make a new engine because, oh, wait, never mind. Well, I was going to say they might need to make a new engine just because of all the destruction. But to be fair, I heard people making this joke that the cheese in Odyssey was kind of a tech demo for the destruction in this game.
That you throw the frying pans at?
Yeah, so honestly, there's a decent chance that they wouldn't actually need a new engine because that's probably the biggest gameplay difference. And they already have a basic idea behind it, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not the kind of person who's developed this stuff, so I wouldn't know for sure.
Right, and we'll get more into it when we look in the footage. But although there is, this is something I didn't notice, but I did see people point out, is that because you look at the sky, you're like, oh, clouds, and later it shows the moon. That I think this is if it is again taking interpretation or inspiration from King Kong, which it did in the beginning and then got sued by Universal. This seems to be a Hollow Earth situation, with the skybox is the ground of something else, and now all the monkeys work in the mines. I think around this point, well, actually, you know what? When I saw the monkeys, I'm like, okay, this is Donkey Kong. As soon as I saw that, I knew what it was.
Yeah.
And I do think, this is what Diddy would look like. And that's the interesting thing is that when people are redesigning the characters, there's no Diddy. Hashtag no Diddy, am I right, guys? I fucking hate that, by the way. But that's neither here nor there. There's no Diddy Kong in Mario Kart World, and he's clearly not in this game, at least to our knowledge. But he did get a redesign for the movie. And before we saw this, or we saw any clear footage of Mario Kart, people were calling that new Donkey Kong, they were calling it Movie Donkey Kong. I know I did at the very least.
Yeah, because I think it's the first time they really kind of tested out that new look for him.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that that movie was a testing ground, or do you think that they were working on this design internally for a while?
I don't think it was a testing ground. I mean, maybe if there was just outright panning of Donkey Kong, how he looked in the movie, maybe they would have backtracked on this, but I think it was probably set in stone. The only thing I would say is I just assumed that was just how Donkey Kong looked in the movie. You know what I mean, though? Because it's not like they've committed to every single character design. I mean, Peach looks a little bit different, although, to be fair, they did kind of apply the way she looked in the movie a little bit to some of her official art for Princess Peach Showtime. But Cranky Kong looks totally different in the movie, but he looks the same here.
I think in retrospect, we can look at the movie and see okay, this is probably what the slate of things are going to look like moving forward. But an animated film is different. Ultimately, what I'm asking is, do you think this game has been in development before the Mario movie?
Ooh.
Because you were saying before we started,
they announced the Mario movie in 2018 or something. It was years ago.
But that's a good question. How long have they been working on this?
Yeah,
this is something you were saying before the cast that I'd like to hear more about the theories about how long this game has actually been in development, as opposed to the normal 3 to 4 year.
You want me to do the spiel?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was watching this YouTuber. The name is Nintendo Forecast.
Shout out.
I watched it. It's a cool channel, and they were kind of bringing up this idea that potentially, and it mostly has to do with the question of where 3D Mario is, if there is a 3D Mario on the horizon. And the idea basically was that either this game was supposed to be either DLC or a continuation of Mario Odyssey, or just, it's a lot of this comes with the basic idea that, oh yes, the guys making this are the guys that made Odyssey. And I don't know if it's officially confirmed, but I think everyone pretty much is
It
kind
is
of going
not,
in with that
but
assumption. It
yeah.
looks too. Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
It is
Oh,
not.
it's not
Like,
confirmed. It's not confirmed.
they're still, because Nintendo's like, not that they outright said we won't say, but they've always had this stance for a while when people were asking who made, I forget what game it was. Maybe it was Brothership, where they didn't say who was behind it. They're like, oh, you have to watch the credits, which I think is like, people get mad about, but I find that cute. That's like, yeah, you know, you should buy the game or like find out at launch. I think that's kind of fun. But also, you know, when we saw that Masahiro Sakurai title drop at the end of Kirby Air Riders, it's like, whoa, I know that guy. And we've talked before about like people getting obsessed with the same 4 to 5 developers and not getting excited for new people to like really show their stuff. But yeah, Nintendo, they didn't say outright like, oh, we won't say, but like people have asked, like they rather just, they haven't said and they won't say who worked on this game.
Yeah.
Even though it's pretty evident, but continue.
Yeah. In a nutshell, the basic idea is that this one of the basic ideas, I don't want to completely paraphrase a video I watched this morning or just kind of pretend that I remember it all perfectly. The idea was that this is a game that either it was started being worked on immediately after Odyssey or within the next couple years, maybe originally with the Switch in mind, but because of some of the intensity of its you know of what it demanded, just especially with the destruction, and they might have thought, oh, maybe we'll hold out for like any future hardware. And because of that, I part of the idea is that they probably finished this game probably a while ago, and they've been working on a 3D Mario or a more kind of proper 3D Mario continuation for since then. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's true. That's mostly just speculation. But and the whole video kind of goes into speculation about how Nintendo usually develops. And after watching it, my idea is that there probably is a 3D Mario on the horizon in the next couple of years that they kind of do have in the work making. And I think that this game probably has been done for a good amount of time and has just been kind of been waiting to be released, just because of especially because I think the release of a whole console is kind of a bottleneck. So it wouldn't surprise me if there are there are at least a couple games that have been pretty much done, at least in terms of large-scale creative development, not so much, you know, a lot of the nitty-gritty kind of optimization and stuff. I think that this game probably started being worked on earlier than we think it did. If we were thinking like, oh, maybe since it's coming out in 2025, it probably started 2022. I wouldn't be surprised if it started in like 2020 or 2021.
Do you think there's a chance that the mouse cursor is such a major part of Switch 2 development was because of Metroid Prime 4, and they're like, oh, wait, we have this new mechanic, we should hold off and do this cool thing that we want to try? Because Nintendo was developing in-house.
What's the mouse cursor doing in Metroid Prime again?
It just helps you aim. It's like keyboard and mouse controls with shooters. I did see a lot of Treehouse footage of that. And like, if any console's gonna make me learn how to use my mouse, it would be that one. But also, like, I prefer to use a controller. I don't want to do a shooter with a mouse.
My guess is that with Metroid Prime 4, after it was delayed, I think it was like either a year or two after it was initially announced. Because no, I'm pretty sure it was announced in mid 2017. And I think they announced, oh yeah, guys, I think we're going to start all over in early 2018.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, and then 6 years later, there was still no word of it. I think because of that, they thought, well, you know what? What's the difference between 6 or 7 years? You know what I mean? So I think they just decided, you know what? Let's beef this game up and release it with the new hardware.
Yeah, it's a Breath of the Wild situation where they're like, we've said this since the beginning of the Switch. We can't not release it on this console. But it's also like basically mainly for the Switch too. But those are the major hardware changes. I would imagine there's a number of games. I know there's also, let me try and find it in a different tab real quick while this plays. There is indie game. I don't know if it is indie actually, but we could see, oh, it's got like reactive feedback to all the things he sees around him.
Yeah, and that's not super new to Nintendo, all things considered. I mean, they had stuff like that in Odyssey, but I really just love how expressive he is. I was watching the Treehouse footage, and basically all my qualms, or even not really qualms, but all the doubts I had about the new DK basically went away. I mean, at least with the direction they're taking here, like, I love it. I love it so much. And that's why I'm also convinced this is Odyssey, because there's so many things that are similar to Odyssey in the way, you know, the protagonist moves, the way the protagonist interacts with the world, the kind of smiling at the freaking banana. Like, Donkey Kong is lovable here. Also, we're noticing he has pants. Is that he's got pants, I guess?
I don't like it. It's wrong. It's different. I will say also that, like, I know maybe just before, I mean, we'll watch more of the footage back. I didn't think this was a permanent change. It could just be like, that was the outfit he was wearing in the opening, so they're keeping it consistent. We could see we don't know this character's name. Some people have begun calling him Chip, because he's like literally on his shoulder. This could also be
Yeah, I
small
love that. I love
so
that.
you never know. But I think it's interesting that I've heard, I don't remember who said it. Maybe it was anyone who worked at Rare. I don't think it was Kevin Bayless literally because he just did the art design. But they went to like animals move, specifically primates. They went to the zoo to study how primates moved so they can make it accurate in their game. But then they realized that, like, oh, they don't really move that fast. So instead they studied a horse gallop and gave it to DK. And you still see that here. Like, apes obviously don't move like this. But this is still a carryover from his movement in those games. This looks crazy.
The way the gorillas run is a lot less fun and like bouncy and stuff.
Yeah, they like hold they basically Naruto run, but their arms are to their sides. They just like lean forward.
Yeah, but dude, I'm excited for some of the Treehouse footage because some of the cute stuff you can do with Donkey Kong in this game. Like,
we're seeing a lot of movement here. Obviously, there's climbing and then jumping and rolling. Bubbles. Wait, that was a fully new monkey. I thought, by the way, I was like, my eyes were playing tricks on me. I thought that was the SS Dolphin for a second. Because you see the bubble peeking through and it kind of looks like the glass canister. Yeah, blue monkey. Funny. Anyway, just real quick, I want to get this in here because it did look interesting. This is Nintrom Limited Mousework, which is like basically this console's version of Snipper Clips. It's a fun little multiplayer indie game that mainly focuses on the use of the mouse cursor. Like, it seems like they're making a much better mouse cursor tech demo game than Nintendo is. But I've also seen a lot of people being like, oh man, imagine the next WarioWare using this mouse cursor. A 1 to 4 player party game. Will. Nintron, people know this.
I never played.
Oh yeah, they made Shovel Knight.
The Wario. Oh, okay.
Continue.
I never played the WarioWare on the Switch because there was a WarioWare on the Switch, right?
There were 2.
Am I crazy? Oh, there were 2. Because yeah. Did either of the were those focused on a lot of the Switch specific Joy-Con controls, or were they just kind of?
The second one was they made the first one was that you would literally play as the characters and they would each have a different power, and it was honestly more of like a platforming game in the form of Mario or WarioWare. And then the second one was more traditional, like motion controls, HD haptic feedback, all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But that one released later. That was like 2023, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, was it? Because the first one came out in 22. Did they really release them years back to that? Can't be right. It may have been 24.
Well, what about I
think Long Jump. I'm just assuming I'm going off of Mario Tech, and then this would be the equivalent of the ground pound is immediately drilling into the ground. I also
it was 21 and 23, but
okay, that is better. This is such a basic game thing. Of course you would do this, but we got a silhouette when you're underground. Thank God. They also dropped gold nuggets. I assume all of the ground you break. Maybe not all of it, but
no, not all of it. I think it's like actually stored in the ground, or maybe not. Yeah,
I think a lot of them are, but not all of them.
Yeah,
dig straight down.
Well, you can see their little like gold poops or whatever, kind of scattered around the underground. So I think that's a thing that's just kind of occasionally you run into. But if you're breaking willy-nilly, you're definitely.
It doesn't seem like he's collecting them, but maybe you have to like physically go over.
Yeah.
Also, like strangely enough, like we were talking about, oh, this is very reminiscent of Mario Odyssey, but also like with the eyes and everything. Yeah, it's very reminiscent. I watched back a lot of reactions to this, and while like most people were like, oh shit, new 3D Mario, some people saw this first before they saw the monkeys, and they're like, oh shit, new Banjo-Kazooie, which would have been an insane way to end the direct, especially since we know Yuka Replay is gonna be. Is that a launch title? We just know that is coming to the Switch because and Killer Instinct Skeleton, just a love letter to Rareware. I mean, there is a chance, right, that like Alpha Dream went out of business or they went bankrupt because Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s fucking whatever released 2 years into the Switch. It was in 2019. So it sold horribly, the worst selling Mario and Luigi game, so Alpha Dream went out of business. But then Nintendo scooped up a bunch of the people who worked in Alpha Dream to make Brothership and just have them made in-house. So there's a chance that although this is like, we're assuming the Odyssey team, and it is literally Nintendo, there is a chance that they just got a lot of old Rareware guys. Because we know that Grant Kirkhope did the soundtrack for the Mario Rabbids games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a decent chance. I could also just see that if nothing else, they definitely looked at a lot of the Rareware games and were like, okay, let's kind of carry that over. I mean, because at the end of the day, you know, I've been kind of going back and forth on how faithful they're trying to be to the, like, you know, Donkey Kong canon of what's existed so far, because this is definitely a departure from it. It seems that they're trying to, you know, respect it. I don't want to use the terminology of respect or whatever, but it seems that there is a certain amount of they're trying to build on what was established by Rareware.
Even the ostrich
especially
character,
with like, yeah, that's a Rareware ass character.
Here's my thing though, not to be a hater, because I love Banjo as much as the next guy. But if I were Nintendo and I'm making a 3D platformer Donkey Kong game, the last company I would call is Rare.
Yeah.
Because
I've never played Donkey Kong. What's it called again?
64.
N64.
Yeah.
I was about to say Donkey Kong 3D, but I was like, wait, that's a good point because a lot of people don't like that game. There's a lot of things about it that anger people. I mean, honestly, Banjo Tooie gets on my nerves a little bit just with how kind of drawn out and long a lot of parts are. And I assume Donkey Kong 64 has the same problem.
I've gotten to this argument with my buddy Ranch before about like about Sunshine, and I'm like, man, like the blue coins are so annoying and all of these like shines are monotonous, and he's like, well, you don't have to do them. It's like, but if you're 100%ing the game, you do. So I understand that a lot of my gripes are technically like optional, but I like 100%ing a game.
Yeah.
I just recently
that's one thing I think Odyssey does so well.
Yeah.
In my opinion. The only annoying thing, and it's not even that annoying, it's just difficult, you know, because I was like doing the 100 beach ball challenge or the 100 jump rope challenge.
Yeah.
And those are the only things that are consistently difficult for me, along with, I guess, you know, the darker side of the moon. Like that's a little tricky at some points, but like I think games are fun to 100%, and excessively kind of stupid and obnoxious challenges do kind of make the game a little bit frustrating to play, I think. So, I don't know. I definitely agree with you there.
100%ed, at least with Mario Galaxy on stream. Like I just finished it last week, and Mario Galaxy is one of my like top 5 games, one of my favorite games. But yeah. I hate the purple coins. I find them so annoying, and most of them are monotonous and just like circling back and looking at nothing. 100% of that game really made me realize, like, man, there is some stuff in Galaxy I just don't like. Even though, like, overall as an experience, I do like it. But it made me understand
how to get the comets, because like there's like a system, right? But I remember being kind of annoying getting.
Well, they're random, or you could pay the Hungry Luma and Starbits to move them. But once you beat the game the first time, then the purple coin comets appear on each level, and every time you beat one, it just goes to another. And some of them are like, collect all these coins in this platforming section, and they're not that bad. But the ones where it's like, find these purple coins around the level. And I understand that Mario 64 had 100 coin challenges, but those were like a lot more digestible.
You could kill a bunch of Goombas, and that like, kind of.
Donkey Kong is surfing on this rock and it's spinning. This acorn looks very Odyssey. It's gonna keep looking at stuff.
You have like barrels. Bump into that and jump off of it. I love this idea. I love this area. I'm excited to see more of it.
The like Vegas ass area. I guess we haven't seen a lot of this in Treehouse footage, or rather, I haven't. But the 2D sections where it looks like, I think this is a lot of love to Rareware specifically.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously you see even the trees. I mean I like what they did with the trees, especially because they kind of still make them look a little plasticky. I like that specific. I like it. Yes, that's very Rareware-esque.
I would be excited also to like, I like when companies help out Nintendo a lot and then they make their own thing. That Retro Studios has kind of been, I don't want to say shackled because they've all been good games, to like just Donkey Kong and Metroid for a while. And maybe they could still make a third Donkey Kong Country Returns, you know, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But if Nintendo is focused on making these Donkey Kong games in-house, and then Metroid Prime 4 will finally be out and done, I'm excited to see what Retro Studios does next, because they don't have a Nintendo product to make. They could just make whatever they want.
Donkey Kong Jungle Beat 2.
Yeah, or Nintendo will give them another Nintendo IP to be like, hey, fix this. Make an F-Zero game that's good.
F-Zero Jungle Beat 2.
There's YouTube chat saying his name is Odd Rock. I don't know if, I think that's just what they call it. I don't know if that's the name exactly.
Yeah, I don't. It's interesting. Odd Rock or Chip is like, I like the name Chip. I hope it is Chip. I love ostriches. I do hope. It's interesting. He's the rock character is voice acted, but most of the other NPCs just kind of have the lovable Mario like NPC gibberish. Which I find kind of interesting, all things considered.
Yeah, and it would be weird if it was like that revealed to be Pauline later. Anyway, do you think this might be reaching for me? But let me open this image up real quick. Do you think this right here is a quirk of the lighting engine, or do you think there's a chance we get power-ups in this game? Because this is something another thing they showed off for the first time in the movie, if we're going off of the movie, is that Donkey Kong used the fire flower to become Fire DK, which is something we hadn't seen in any game previously. He is wearing pants for most of this.
Some of the art he's not wearing pants, so I don't know. I mean,
I'm just saying, like,
he likes to let it hang.
This could easily just be like the lighting engine that he looks more orange or red, but
I think that's lighting. Yeah, I mean, because I think if they wanted it to be fire DK, they'd probably put a little bit more into making his
tie is white in the movie when that happens.
More visually distinct.
He's wearing shorts.
Yes, I think that's just. Because they love their kind of backlighting in Nintendo games, so especially these like Mario games, so or these kind of.
This is what leads people to believe it's a lot like Odyssey, that they have little
dance. I love it.
Well, yeah, like little missions around the level, and there's a lot to do. Like breaking this, I can imagine the little like it. Because I've seen footage later where it says the name of whatever you collect. I imagine the banana there at the end. So I think it's going to be another collectathon.
Shit, what is this, dude?
Those are the rock people. Oh, now he's not wearing pants or his hat. We're seeing a lot of villains. We don't know who the lead villain is, but I have gathered a lot of people coping and having theories on Twitter. I think maybe we have different like research we've done, because I've been falling down a very specific rabbit hole. Twitch chat says, I do really like how they make it so you high-five NPCs when you try and hit them. It's like a way to keep them in character, even when the player tries to beat the living shit out of random characters. I did really like jumping on them as Mario.
Yeah.
But also as Mario, like, you want to... The jump button is the same as the interact button. I don't think that was him hitting them. I think that's probably just him talking to them. Donkey Kong Bananza. It does just say copyright Nintendo, but, I mean, Donkey Kong is Nintendo's copyright. And this is the more traditional DK look. Even though it's the new design, it's his outfit. And we have July 17th, 2025. So that is the trailer footage. We can get into the Treehouse footage. This is the playlist of all the Treehouse footage in general. We can get into Donkey Kong Bonanza. So you just let me know when something is worth pointing out.
Welcome back to Nintendo Treehouse.
Our favorite character.
Cool hair.
Nintendo Switch
yeah, dude.
Again, the entire time this was happening, the chat was spamming to lower the price.
BK and DK.
Those three are the ones responsible for the price.
Yeah.
Bananza.
And the guy in charge of the Nintendo Twitter as well.
All new 3D adventure.
Can't wait for Donkey Kong. The fact it's like Odyssey, but you can break shit with your bare monkey hands is awesome. Implying that you couldn't break shit with your monkey hands in Odyssey. If only.
You could with your monkey frying pan.
That's true. That would make this game better, I think. They should have
I'm kind of...
No, go ahead.
Oh, I think this might be a miner's outfit in general.
Yeah. They should add a crafting mechanic to this game, and like food also, and a hunger meter.
This is why you don't like dirt like that. Like this just looks like poop,
like shit. So up here, the gold nuggets, it's got a point, it's got a decimal, so that'll be the coin collectible. There are balloons over here. And in Odyssey, you just die and then you would lose some coins and then respawn. But the balloons, if you played a Donkey Kong game, the balloons are the lives. And the number of balloons you have is the amount of times you can recover. So
I think there's a decent chance, unless we've seen it otherwise. I think the balloons might be used differently. Because I remember during the Treehouse, they kind of say that the balloons just kind of help you if you've fallen down a ledge. So it might be if you fall down in a platforming challenge, you just immediately get taken back up if you have a balloon or something like that. Without, and otherwise you just kind of like lose 10 coins or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, and also we can see the golden nugget going up. So we can just, in fact, walk into them and collect them.
Yeah.
I don't know what
One thing I'm a little concerned about is I think a lot of there won't be as much, like problem-solving challenges just because, or platforming challenges just because of the nature of all this destruction you can do. Just to my personal taste, I don't know how honestly excited I am about the destruction, but that's not like really much of a complaint as much as
did they say that everything is destructible? I would imagine there's some stuff that you can't break.
No. Dude, I'm pretty sure it goes by Portal rules where like really dark stuff can't be destroyed. Yeah. It's like really dark gray stuff.
This here says Banandium chip. Trade these for bananas at any chip exchange. So it's gonna be like I think if it is like Odyssey, there's a chance we get to change Donkey Kong's outfit. And these are like the Odyssey purple coins or purple any collectible, purple whatevers. And you could exchange them for bananas, moons, or outfits. Or it just changes depending on where you are in the game. The game just opens with this. We don't know why Donkey Kong... I mean, it's not like... Donkey Kong doesn't look like he's been forced into monkey slavery or whatever. So he could just exist in this world where they're all always mining. For bananas. I think the recontextualization of the bananas as not real bananas, but rather gems that are shaped like bananas. Bananza.
I hope they're not trying to claim that the bananas in the country games weren't actually bananas.
Yeah, the whole time. He does say, "Oh, banana," but yeah, it has the text down here like Odyssey did.
What is? Yeah, no, that's exactly that's a big reason why this seems very much like obviously just Odyssey. I love the animation. I love him sticking his tongue out. It's so cute to me.
Do you think this
there's
is
like
open...
something later on?
Do you think this is open zone or open world?
I think it's open zone because there are. Well, actually, I mean, you'll see it later on. There's like
because I imagine that like okay, so real quick, I just want to circle back because you said that like we couldn't. They're probably have a 3D Mario in the back pocket that they'll release later. I have a different sense that I think this is what the 3D Mario team has been working on, and I think they view this as like the equivalent of that. And the reason I watched Nintendo Forecast too, the reason I didn't click on that video because it was like titled like when can we expect a new 3D Mario, and I'm like we can't. No, sorry. Not that we won't ever, but like if there is a new 3D Mario, I don't think development will start on that until development on this has finished. And I think the reason I ask if it's open world is because obviously we knew that Bowser's Fury had to be a tech demo for something.
Yeah.
And that was very much open world. I do hope we see a more traditional 3D Mario with that. This seems like a very music-centric game as well.
Yeah, because you can sing in this game too. Yeah, you can high-five enemies instead of like when you want to kill them or whatever.
Punch and jump. It doesn't tell us how to roll. It just says that you can punch and jump. You can jump out of a roll though. So yeah, that's the you can spin. That's the Odyssey equivalent as well. I think there's going to be a lot of platforming tech here, and that's why what I wanted to say earlier is that although I'm like I have nostalgia, and I'm like man, Galaxy is my favorite from an aesthetic standpoint. The more I play other 3D Marios, the more I'm like, why would I ever play anything that's not Odyssey? Odyssey is so much better.
Yeah, I mean maybe I just didn't grow up with it because I didn't play Sunshine like in full until
I do not care for Sunshine.
I mean because there's still parts I like, but I don't know. I think for me, Odyssey is definitely my favorite. Honestly, Galaxy and 64 are probably evenly matched. Because my biggest issue with the Galaxy, I haven't played Galaxy 2 since I was 10 because it's not on the Switch. But if I had in general, I would prefer if Galaxy was a little bit less linear. I mean that's why I think I'd still probably consider like it as much as 64 because I think Galaxy like artistically in terms of its just general direction is like beautiful.
Yeah. I mean ultimately it is a 3D Mario, but it goes in a different direction. I got a chat the other day when I was playing Galaxy. And again, I want to reiterate, whenever I talk about discussion, if I disagree with you, this isn't me being like, oh, this guy. No, I mean, like, everyone is open to be wrong at all the time, all right? I'm often wrong. But it was someone, I thought it was really interesting, but they're like, hey, what do you think the likelihood of us getting, like, a Galaxy 3 at some point? And I'm like, 0. Like, that. It's just a 3D Mario. They still make 3D Mario. They're not going to make... It's like if they made 64 2 or 128 rather, or like Sunshine 2. Like I don't think Galaxy was the one for the Wii, and now they don't make Wii. If they went back to start making Wii games again for the Wii, then yeah, maybe they would make Mario Galaxy 3. But yeah, if they wouldn't do that at all.
I mean, I guess the fact they made Galaxy 2 in the first place, I think was what's the word? Kind of out of the ordinary in the first place. And I remember around the time it came out, a lot of people I knew didn't like it. I remember a YouTuber I watched a lot as a kid, Josh Scorcher, he kind of said it was just like, it was like Call of Duty level, kind of like yearly release kind of just profiteering.
That's ridiculous.
I think it's a little strong. It's a little strong.
Yeah.
I think like Mario has always been a bit, what's the word, iterative in a sense that, I guess, I mean, to be honest, they were also doing New Super Mario Bros. At the same time, which admittedly was kind of a very repetitive series, and I think that's why they're trying to take Mario into so many new different directions these past couple years. Because when 2 and U came out in the same year, like I thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
and they had to explain like no, it's one per console. I like the one game per console. And if we're viewing, I wanted to get into this because even before we saw this, I had like an internal document I always made like for fun of like, I want every Nintendo series to be represented on the Switch. And viewing the Switch 2 as a continuation of that, it's like, we got a Mario Strikers game, or not? Yeah, we got a Mario Strikers game. We got a Mario Golf. We got a Mario Party. We got a Mario Kart. And then 2D Mario, 3D Mario, 2D Metroid, 3D Metroid, so on and so forth. Pikmin game, 2D Zelda, 3D Zelda, even if they're remakes. A Mario RPG, a Paper Mario, and a Mario and Luigi. Like, all of these major franchises, I'm like, I just, like, for completion's sake, I want all of them to have a rep on the console. And there were some series that I'm like, oh, well, this only had one game, so I'm not going to count it. And one of those was like, just in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, we have a 2D Donkey Kong, sort of. We have a Mario and Donkey Kong, sort of. Those are both remakes or ports. And then I'm like, okay, the third saga, at least of the major Donkey Kong games, other than the rhythm ones or the grabbing ones, the climbing ones, are 3D Donkey Kong. There's been one 3D Donkey Kong, and I was like, well, they're never going to make another one of these. But now that they have, it's like, oh man, even 3D Donkey Kong is represented on the Switch. So are there any major like Nintendo series that haven't gotten a Switch game? I also want to postulate is like, what if we get, because remember, Wario also got one 3D platformer one time, and then never again.
I forgot about that.
New Wario World will go. I haven't played it. I put it on stream in like 21, but that was forever ago. So are there any major series? Like obviously Sluggers is the main one I hear a lot. And now we have a new Tomodachi Life. Now we have a new Rhythm Heaven. Is there any like Nintendo series that like just for the Switch effect to take effect?
Is there an Electroplankton game? Is there an Electroplankton game on Switch?
Did they make more of those? Was it the DS and the Wii, or was it just the DS?
I think there was like 2 or something.
That's a series. That counts for something.
I said Earthbound, but that's kind of a joke. I mean, I don't like I hope they never do anything new with that series.
I think best case scenario, I want a trilogy remake. Like I think that's the best case scenario. I think there's a reason I think it's unlikely.
Yeah, it's unlikely anyway. But I'm like very adamant about not wanting Earthbound to be remade. Just personally. Yeah, no, it's because it's a special game to me, and the idea of it kind of like getting some like stupid HD 2D kind of thing. Or the kind of like clay model things people want. I want it to be a sprite-based game.
I really like the clay model.
I mean, that's just because it's a special game.
Yeah. But
I wouldn't want it to be kind of reimagined.
Yeah, my thinking is just that, like, maybe this is more copium, but, like, they've been so adamant against releasing Mother 3, obviously, and there has to be a reason why. It can't just be like, oh, for, like, different, this country reacts to this thing different than this country. It can't just be that because it's been so long. And they also, like, added the other ones to NSO, to now renamed to Nintendo Classics. So and also, like, they couldn't just, if they just one day, they're like, hey, you could play Mother 3 on Game Boy Advance, Nintendo Switch Online. It's like, well, translations have existed forever. I think it would be like another Metroid 2 remake where they have been working on something, or rather they just now started working on something.
Yeah. I think the reason they won't release Mother 3 is because they were I think they just didn't want to do it back before the Switch. And in the era of the Switch, I mean, translating Mother 3 would cost money because I guess technically the fan translators are like, oh yeah, you can use our translation if you want, but they're not going to do that. And they could retranslate it. I don't know if I like the script as much. They'd probably still do a decent job. I think they might actually take out some, fun parts about Mother 3 though, to be fair. Yeah. But if they do that, I mean, that's going to cost money. And what are they going to do with, like, all they're going to do is release it, I guess, for free or as part of the subscription service, which I don't really think is going to make them enough money. No. Or it's not really going to be they would rather put those resources into other things.
Well, that's why I think if they're doing anything, it would be a remake trilogy, because what's interesting about and why I want representation of like all these series, even though I don't necessarily care for all of them equally, to be on the Switch is the Switch effect, is that every series they have has had their best-selling game on the Nintendo Switch. And the Switch 2 won't necessarily mirror that, but I don't think it'll be hard to make the best-selling Mother game in general, especially now like how modern audiences are. I would count a remake as a rep in that series because 2D Donkey Kong, 2D Zelda. Well, I guess now we have a fully fledged top-down 2D Zelda, and then we're gonna have Metroid Prime. But I would count those. I think it's fun to think about all these series that have been kind of left by the wayside. I have seen some people saying because of the mouse pointer that like the likelihood, or rather the idea of getting a Pokemon Ranger game, since so much of it is using the cursor. I
doubt it.
Best case scenario is they had Bandai Namco do that. They're like, you guys go do this, because they always give them their fucking spin-offs. They took so long on Pokemon Snap, because I remember during the Wii U era, people wanted that so bad.
And like no one got the new one.
Yeah, well, it's because like it's built for the Wii U. Like, oh, you move your camera around to look for Pokemon. Yeah.
Because a lot of millennials were nostalgic for Pokemon Snap. It's a good game. I mean, I think the reason why like I believed it was like a masterpiece as a kid was because like YouTubers I liked who I watched really liked it.
Yeah.
But
What was their version of Let's Go, where it was like the first like Pokemon game with 3D Pokemon on the Switch? So that was like the closest they got. Also, this is like a Did You Know Gaming thing, but I always see people say they're like, oh, Pokemon. They had a third game plan that was called Pokemon RPG or something. But Pokemon RPG, quote unquote, that was reported on in Nintendo Power, I think, was always meant to be Pokemon Snap. It wasn't like a fully fledged Pokemon RPG.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of collectibles. We still don't know how they do the roll, but we do know the ground pound is just hitting A in the air and then B, or jumping with A and then hitting B. Hope Golden Sun one day gets the Switch treatment. I mean, we were saying before that Retro Studios has been a good hand for them. They should be able to do their own thing. And what's it called? Is it Mercury
Is Golden Sun first party?
No, Golden Sun is made by I forget their name, but they're the companies that help with the Mario sports games. Is it Mercury Stream?
Okay.
No, it's not. Hold on, let me look into this. Talk about Donkey Kong for a second.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so as you guys see, there's kind of like an echolocation feature where you can kind of see the bananas that you're collecting, which I think is exciting. I think, because that's one of the big kind of concerns I have for how you're gonna make like the bananas easy to find, because I think a lot of the bananas are just gonna be buried somewhere. And admittedly, for me personally, that's one thing that I'm not. I guess I don't know if I'm thrilled about, just because I think that, at least as I said, I really like problem-solving moons in Odyssey, for example, and not so much moons that are just kind of there. That's not the end of the world, though. I think there are things that we'll see later on in the Treehouse that kind of make me a little bit more optimistic. I think I'm still gonna have a lot of fun with this game.
Okay, so.
And I also.
No, continue.
And also, like, I assume this like is just kind of a mining focused level. That's why he's in his mining outfit. They're mining.
I think this might literally be the opening of the game, because like it's showing you. Yeah. And I think that's a really easy way of like, instead of any other game where like, or Metroid Prime where they're like, we have to find a section that looks really graphically impressive. I think with this game they're like, yeah, just have them play through the opening. And I imagine that's what happened at the Treehouse, but the hands-on as well.
They also do another level, which I assume is like the first level or the second level, other than this.
But it was Camelot that makes the Golden Sun games, and Camelot developed Mario Tennis for the N64 and the Game Boy Color. Mario Golf Toadstool Tour for the GameCube, Mario Golf Advanced Tour for the GBA, Mario Power Tennis for the GameCube, Mario Tennis Power Tour for the GBA, New Control Plus Mario Power Tennis, Mario Tennis Open, Mario Golf World Tour, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, Mario Sports Superstars, Mario Tennis Aces, Mario Golf Super Rush. What I'm saying is that they made the two major Mario sports games for the Switch recently, and Nintendo has them kind of close to the chest. So if they wanted to make a Golden Sun game after, proving their worth with all of these golf and tennis games, because they make most of at least the widely respected and celebrated Mario Golf and tennis games, I think they should be given a shot to like make their own RPG, and Nintendo could give it a spotlight a little bit. The Storm is pulling all the bananas
if you're still doubtful that this is like an Odyssey continuation, I think the fact that like the big golden bananas are in pairs of 3 is just like more evidence.
Oh, that's true. No. How could they do this to him? Okay, so this is the lighting we saw before. This is not a power-up. He just looks orange. I didn't think oh, now he lost his clothes. Okay, so that's just the opening. Rip his clothes off!
Yeah, lose the shorts.
Yeah, room for one more. And this is the opening, and the skies above the Donkey Kong mines. Yeah, it is crashing into the earth, or into the Ingot Isle. And now they've been scattered all throughout this hollow earth. I think
they're doing like some Bowser's Castle, like galaxy shit. I guess
yeah, what people were saying about I really like Tears of the Kingdom, but I also didn't play Breath of the Wild that much. People's arguments, rather, for like why it warrants being its own game is that like, oh yeah, it's got Hyrule again, but also you can go in the sky and underground. And maybe I haven't played enough Tears of the Kingdom. I think the Nintendo Switch 2 edition is going to incentivize me to actually finish Tears of the Kingdom, because obviously I want to play on the Switch 2, so I just need things to play. But there's a whole underground section. See, that looks like old DK a little bit.
Yeah,
but there's a whole.
I didn't know they were recreating a lot of the old art like that. I guess I kind of forgot about that when I.
there's a whole underground section of Tears of the Kingdom, and I guess there's a chance that like this world is vast, but also you can go up or down. But it seems like most of the down.
I think there's just separate worlds because you'll see later on there seem to be kind of like little like passageways between levels and stuff. So it's not like just like one coherent kind of map that you're going between.
So Chet says Golden Sun is stuck in a weird place, which is probably the only reason why it hasn't happened yet, since they're so close to Nintendo. They should allow Camelot to make a Golden Sun game, and then allow Bandai Namco to make a new Tales of game for both, because they've done so much for the companies. And then we could have Lloyd Irving.
Was ever a Nintendo exclusive series, though. I think they could.
Yeah, they should release them at the same damn time. I like this too. That's why I'm saying they should add a crafting mechanic, man. I wanted to ask you. I think we'd rather just like say, if I'm putting out wild predictions, I think I did say we'd get more Odyssey stuff before we get a 3D Mario. I guess I'm gonna stick to that because I gotta be right at some point.
I kind of have my hopes up, but I think they did say that they're already planning to like do an Odyssey extension in 60 FPS, at least for the Switch too. Like I think it's gonna be a free update, so that's why I'm kind of thinking that they're like Odyssey's locked in. I don't think they're gonna do anything more with it, but I mean, I'm not like
unless the update like has maps they made in the past that they just never released for whatever reason. Sublayer Town. Yeah, I guess they are like carted off areas. You're just deeper underground. Or maybe this entire game isn't in the Hollow Earth, but rather you just like sink underground for most of it, and the images we see later are that. $90 Odyssey 1 update. I don't know where you're getting your information from, but I'll push back against this, alright? If you want to get Odyssey from scratch, then sure, it's 70. But if you already have it, it's just going to be 10. Unless you have Nintendo Switch
No, I think
Online.
it's gonna be a free. I think it's gonna be a free expansion. Or are we talking about
right?
Like, hypothetical?
Well, the joke is in reference to like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. If you already have those games for the Switch, you don't need to get them again.
Yeah, you get the Switch 2 version, but
leave the billion-dollar company alone.
Do Switch 2 Online members get the games get the extensions for free? I forget.
I think some of them. I did hear that, but again, like we're in the dark for a lot of things. And I know they did that with the expansion. With the expansion pass, you would get like Animal Crossing and Splatoon DLC. And I think also you could get Mario Kart DLC that way. And I think that's the model they're going to do moving forward, but I am pretty sure. I did hear that somewhere. What were you going to say?
Well, I think I'm thinking to myself, like, I think there might have been like a 3-tiered system to this where I think there are games that are having like very, basically just DLC packs added to them, like Mario Party Jamboree. And what was the other one? I forget. Kirby in the Forgotten Land. And then there's games that are having like still $bucks. The devoted upgrades are like $10 that just like have like some extra content but nothing super big where they're adding it to the title or whatever. And I think there are also just a few games that are just kind of being upgraded to like run a little bit better and kind of have some like small performance upgrades, and that's just free. If I'm wrong, I might be wrong.
Maybe we can save this for like if we end up talking about it. Oh, it seems okay. You can't attack the bramble, or you can't. No, never mind. You can't do it with your fist. I'm wrong. But fuck, what was I about to say? That there seems to be, strangely enough, a lot of upgrades on the mobile like app or the mobile app tie-in for Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Although those are just like graphical updates. Like you have the map system on the phone that tells you where there are shrines and Koroks you haven't found yet. Apparently there's a new like you can finally fix your broken weapons in those games in the update. And there's also like you can transfer items between 1 and 2. Like there's a little time capsule thing between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. You can transfer items and armor.
That's some Pokemon Gen 1 and 2.
Yeah, like that's a lot of things that are just for like the graphical update. So I'm hoping something closer, like for the major games, just like, yeah, you add, okay, this is the stuff you can't break. Or at least not without a special little rock that we'll get into later. But sorry, what I was going to say is my wild prediction is we know that Diddy Kong isn't in Mario Kart. He probably won't be in this. My wild prediction is that Diddy Kong is going to be cut from the next Super Smash Bros. Game.
Oh gosh, you might be right.
Yeah, I mean he's been good in the last 3 games he's been in, apparently, from like a competitive standpoint.
I mean, I remember he was so good in early Smash 4 that they like he was like one of the first like S-tier characters. Yeah. Until they really nerfed him pretty bad. I don't know how bad it was altogether.
The ding dong and the hoo-ha and whatnot, where the hoo-ha was Donkey Kong. But I mean I've always been very staunch on this. I don't want an Ultimate Deluxe, and like maybe we'll get a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Smash Ultimate. But I still think if there is any sort of Smash thing on this console, it will be a new game. Do I think Sakurai has evolved? I don't know. Maybe not as much.
There's our buddy. There's Chip.
It's Chip. Smalline. purple.
He looks so confused. Oh, he got so angry.
Yeah. He's so
no,
full of rage.
I just love the way they animate these characters.
How about Donkey Kong looks in general? Because again, like seeing it in action, the design isn't that different. I think people have been looking at renders and being like, this. Honestly, like I like different designs. I like mixing it up a little bit, especially if it's between games. He still has the eye extender thing. Yeah. This character does have voice acting. But if it's supposed to be Pauline, quote unquote, or like that's the reveal, it would still have to be a different voice. Is there any more Treehouse footage, or is this video the only one for Donkey Kong?
There's another one. There's another one.
Okay. Is there one more?
Well, that was a rough beginning.
I think there's one more.
Okay, Metroid Prime. Yeah, there's the Switch 2 tour. They played Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour for 20 minutes or 26 minutes, and Dragon Drive for less.
Oh, we can make videos. We can make a whole episodes about that.
There's still a lot of Treehouse footage left. I mean, we got, like I said, 6 weeks. Between this episode and next week, there will be a Mario Kart Direct.
Oh, yeah. Probably what we're going to end up talking
I think there will probably just be, instead of dedicating episodes to specific topics, I mean, even though it is easier to cover, we'll just cover news in general. I think after that point, let me do the math here, and say that, okay, next Tuesday, Tuesday after, and then back to Monday. After those 3, May 8th will have happened. So I presume we will have information on the Switch 2 pre-order. Twitch chat says, the idea of this game bringing back K-Rool and never using Diddy is kind of funny exchange. Well, there's nothing about K-Rool. However, I have several tabs.
There is, but
I have several tabs open of stuff. So is there any specific, like, other things you've noticed in the tree houses that you want to get to? Is there anything left in this one?
I don't remember anything specific in this one. I guess it's more just they're just showing the cutscenes now, which I think look great.
Right.
There are a couple things in the other video that I think are worthwhile. Let me actually open it on my computer just so I can, like, if you want to kind of just skim through it a little bit.
I mean, it's down here. We'll finish this one real quick, and then you'll just let me know, like, when something happens, just by, like, looking at it. DK. Is it mechanical stuff? Because I have seen, again, like I said, I bookmark a ton of people's tweets talking about. I like the harumph
I mean,
option.
honestly, there might be some they might be covering a lot of the big things. So there were a couple kinds of challenges. Oh, it's the Odd Rock. I assume it's gonna have a proper name though.
Yeah. This also makes it seem like it is one of many Odd Rocks.
I also assume that potentially there might be just different partners that you have throughout different levels. And Small into one of them, but I'm not 100% sure.
And now the L button that you can make music whenever you want throughout the game. I like this. I like when a game leads you in a direction. It helps when you're lost, when you're digging.
Yeah,
Make Dragon Drive the #1 esport in the world. I think that would legitimately give people carpal tunnel. Like, I don't know if they thought that far ahead.
Like when I was watching the trailer, I'm like, oh, that's gonna hurt.
We could, in theory, dedicate an episode to, like, talking about Nintendo Switch 2 editions, whether that be footage we already have or, like, what could get an upgrade for all the major games. Because, again, I'm still playing a different Switch game now. I've bunched it up to 2 Switch games every week, every Thursday. And I feel like at a certain point I will have played all the major ones, so I could look at the list of Nintendo-made Switch games. Because I don't think a third-party game is going to get a Switch 2 edition. I think maybe, but I would assume probably not. So I think they would all be in-house Nintendo games, and we could discuss which ones we think are going to get upgrades and what those upgrades could be. But Donkey Kong is a fully new game, doing his classic spin. Pokemon Gen 8 and 9 Switch 2 editions remove Dex Cut lol. I mean, it's certainly possible. But no, it's not, because, well, with the Switch 2 edition, you could still play the Switch 1 edition. I imagine it would transfer your save file. So, like, if you want to go back and, like, oh, I want to play this game on the Switch again, I think you... Actually, I don't know how that would work. Because you would have different items in the Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe you do just have to transfer your save file. That is all the Bananza footage for this one, but there is one other video for them. I want to make sure it is one more. Oh, there's actually 2, but we'll hop into that. Okay, now we're in this more water world. Yeah, this is the scene I saw where if they look up, there's no ceiling. Well, I mean, sorry. Rather, there is a ceiling. There's no sky.
You can also notice a lot of these environments, they have, like, little monkeys built into them.
And there's a lot more, like, in the UI now. A lot more collectibles, it seems. Because we know about the banana coins, whatever they're calling it. Bananonium. And then these little nuggets. But there seems to be, a punching power, a crystal that... It looks like a skull, I think. Also, this says first crocoid cracked. And that is one of the bookmarks I made of what a crocoid is. Actually, let's go. Let's see. Is the banana the crocoid, or are they starting this footage after they beat a boss fight and a crocoid is like a powerful enemy? Because we could assume that they're still reptile-based enemies. And I have a lot of infographics of people freaking out about the gremlins later. We will get into it. I want to see him jump into that bubble because I want to see if it floats. So I'm taking it back. I don't think there are multiple costumes. I think you just lose the miner outfit. Okay, no, you could just use it as a bounce. I think you just lose the miner outfit after the opening of the game.
So you can dig pretty deep and...
dig tunnels.
See, I would not know that was there at all.
It's one of the swap coins, I think, whatever they're called.
Yeah, stop and swap. Yeah, if you actually, they should add that for the Switch 2 edition. Is if you quickly take the card out, you can unlock different things and what other Donkey Kong games there are. So Cave by the Cape. PlayStation,
so they have like little like taglines too, similar to the Odyssey.
This is PlayStation. You could bring PS4 data over, but not vice versa. It's the same thing with GTA. I just assume because they're the same games, and with the Zelda games specifically, there's going to be new items, or rather transferable items. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they would add new Pokemon, or rather older Pokemon back, but I think they'll at the very least look and run better. I don't know. I think like I have no reason to go back to the Switch 1, although I do love my Switch 1. And now I got that OLED.
Unless you want to play for Nintendo Labo, dude.
That's true. If I want to do the VR kit, that's the only Nintendo in-house game that is not compatible with the Switch, or not backwards compatible. But yeah, like I would honestly, like I apologize, I suppose, to all the people who want to go back and play the Switch, but I would rather them have major changes in these Switch 2 editions than not to like prevail the in-between of keeping both games consistent. I'd rather them just go all out.
Yeah.
So waiting for to do anything with this. These blocks also, I know we keep saying it, but this is very Mario Odyssey. And I think they're saying that black material you can't break.
Either that or it's really strong. It might just be really strong.
Yeah, I might be proven wrong here. We're about to find out. See another glowing thing over there. Yeah, okay. But still, Odyssey, a lot of destructible. Nothing was even in it, man. What was the point? Gen 10 has probably taken their sweet time so they could polish up the trees. I would imagine Gen 10 was in development for a while.
So you can also collect shells.
Fossils. Do you think that's just another collectible, or do you think you can use those for something?
I was thinking maybe it's like just like unique to this specific level.
Interesting.
It seems that, or maybe not. I mean, well, it just seems like you're collecting. I mean, actually, it could probably just be for the whole game because you're going like underground for the whole game. So they might just be like included collectibles that are just kind of added on to the things you collect over
Twitch
time.
is asking, was Smash Ult showed for an enhanced edition? No. But that's the thing, is that I
was like really adamant about it.
So much. I feel very strongly about this. He's wearing like, he's wearing crystal clothes as well. It's made of rocks. That I think so much of Smash Bros. Charm and hype and just like marketing in general is the release of characters slowly over time. And I think if they made a Switch 2 edition version of Ultimate and they wanted to add characters, they wouldn't drip feed them. They would show off all the characters at once. It could be like the Brawl, the first Brawl showcase, where they revealed like Meta Knight and then there's the Hollow Earth, Meta Knight and then Zoosuit Samus and then Pit and then Wario. Like they could show off multiple at once. I think if they do add stuff for a Switch 2 edition, that could be it. But I'd honestly just rather a new Switch game a new Smash game altogether. And that's what we got with Mario Kart. So I don't know why people would be tight-lipped about Smash Bros. Specifically, because if the argument is, well, it's backwards compatible, which technically Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is also backwards compatible. I'm glad they did something different with Mario Kart as opposed to Smash, because I've seen so many people who believe they know what they're talking about. When talking about the next Smash game, they're like, man, where can you go from Ultimate? You really have to, like, you kind of have to, I don't mind soft rebooting the franchise and, like, redesigning the characters, but I've seen people be like, oh, maybe you make it, like, a different type of game, maybe you make it more 3D. It's like, you should not change the inherent mechanics of Smash Bros. Because then it wouldn't be Smash.
Yeah, that'll go over well with anyone.
Yeah, I think those
let's turn it into Tekken. Like what? I don't know about that.
Those divining rods is a checkpoint. It's a lot of magnetic. There's a lot of sound.
Those are explosive rocks. You can blow stuff up with them.
I should hope so. We're about to find out. I mean, that's why they're sparking.
And also, you can aim stuff, which is interesting. But I guess, you know, for a game where you're really throwing all
They showed that earlier, and also you could tell the quality or the toughness. Okay, reveal hidden items on the map, and the map uses the shell icon. Oh, fossil map. Okay, so those are specifically for collecting fossils. They have a reboot. They need to have 45 plus characters. I mean, like, if Smash Ultimate's roster was pushing 90, I think that's fair. I think cutting half the roster
that's my big concern.
I've always said that, like, people say, how do you go up from Ultimate? Huh? A banana. But Ultimate, like, it brought everything, it brought everyone and almost every stage back and a lot of assist trophies and music.
Yeah.
But they didn't add a lot of new stuff. It was like 7 new characters that weren't echoes and like 3 new stages. So I think for the next Smash game to one-up Ultimate, or rather go in a different direction, or rather just like be the next big thing, it just focus on adding new things, right? And then if you want to, you can slowly add the older characters back. I never got the Smash 4 DLC, but
I could see that.
I don't mind the model of like every 3 months, maybe every 2 months or whatever, one of them is a new character, and then one of them is like Lucas or Roy or Banjo or whatever, you know, because then it's just easier. And that way you can like individually redesign those characters over time and not have to dedicate so much development time into doing the entire roster. I think you keep all of the characters that went from Melee to Brawl, and then the rest are like, you know, maybe a Greninja, maybe a Pac-Man. The rest of the jury's still kind of out, you know? But what ultimately I was getting at with that is that I think they should just add like 20 new characters and like, I think 40 new stages isn't that out of the realm of possibility, because I think Smash 4 added like 30 something, right?
Also, the map just looks terrible. I don't know why. Well, the lighting of the map looks like unfinished.
Looking at it like this.
Yeah, like when you zoom out, like this kind of map view. Maybe it's a save space, but it really just does not look like it's fully rendered. It's not like a deal breaker for me. It's just
right. No, I mean, I think it's a valid thing to point out. I think just the main, it's not like stylistic really. It's more form over function, or function over form.
Yeah.
Whereas if we're gonna keep comparing to Odyssey had like the little travel map.
Yeah, which I love.
Like these games in general go for. That's what you could say about the 3D Mario games, regardless of how you feel about all of them individually, is they all have a consistent theme. And Odyssey's is globe trotting, like travel. Galaxies is obviously the galaxy, and Sunshine is like a summer vacation. And even though like they had different levels, like there's the ghost level and the lava level, they still kept with that intrinsic theme. It's just really a matter of what the overarching theme of this is, which I guess is mining, because there's fossils as well. We don't know what those other collectibles mean. Concrete slabs squirting out horizontal style. But ultimately, I gotta stop saying that. My point is, I think new Smash games should focus on adding new things and bringing back those like 15 or so characters and redesigning them. Although I'm not even necessarily sold on that idea, because I like that Smash Ganondorf is different from like Ganondorf, if you will.
Yeah, because he's developed his own identity as kind of a, you know, figure and, you know, character.
Yeah, so. It's like if you substantially change Sub-Zero, it's like, well then, like, why are we... But also, I don't feel... I mean, I like Ganondorf in Smash Bros. I don't feel strongly enough about the 3D Zelda games to be like, no, he should float and have magic. And maybe he should. I'm not, like, fully against that idea. But Smash Video has been released. Officially, as of today, I've released the teaser trailer for the Barnyard video, which is going to be next, and now I can openly talk about what I'm working on. I'm hoping to get it out by the end of the month, but you never know with these things. There's also a chance it just gets fully, like, blocked by Paramount, and then it goes on Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
I'll figure it out. Yeah, it seems like you're right, this is what the balloons would be used for, because it seems like there's just kind of vast open voids, as opposed to this being a wider open explorable area.
Yeah.
We still don't know what the Crocoid meant. I assumed early on that, like, oh, this was the end of the level, we just beat a boss that we don't get to see.
I still don't know what that means, because at other points they've just called, like, the bananas. So it's, like...
I would assume Crocoid is a form of enemy. Oh, here's Cranky. Yeah, this is Cranky's old design.
Yeah, and they don't really show, like, what, like an in-depth conversation with him, so it kind of, like...
You dense, you forgot your own family. Listen up and listen good, it served you to well. Here, I'm waiting for him to drop any important lore. I like that they're playing Donkey Kong oh, high five. Oh, he did hit him. Like a moody teenager, where his dad tried to talk to him. He's like, whatever, man, I'm busy. I gotta go listen to Green Day in my bedroom. Oh, you could clap and collect all of them. What do you think is the deal with the little you? Oh, also he has hearts. I didn't even notice. I didn't mention that at all.
Oh, you didn't notice the heart? Yeah.
I mean, I noticed it, but I just totally like blanked it because I was too focused on the balloons. And the balloons are meant to bring you back, but it was the bag of. It looks like a bag of chips. It's got an apple emblem on it. So is there anything specifically that happens in this trailer as well, or in this Treehouse footage?
Couple things.
Okay.
We're almost there.
I'll let you take lead of this because I'm just kind of. I seem to be filling. Yeah.
So yeah, Donkey Kong swimming. You can swim in this game. I don't know actually if we've seen like in depth like if he can like how submerged swimming works. I assume it'd be pretty similar to Odyssey where it's basically like jumping. Because I think most people prefer that over the kind of like three-dimensional swimming that you had in some of the older games.
What people like about swimming in Odyssey is you could become a Cheep Cheep, and it controls way better. And it's kind of the same with Majora's Mask. Is like we know that they can develop a fun way to swim in a game. I just don't know why.
It involves being a fish.
Right.
Okay, so this is like I don't know what it's called. It's like a pyramid thing, but it kind of takes you to like small little mini levels. and I was really happy when they showed this off.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was misremembering a little bit, but
well, this
I mean,
is a lot like
are,
Odyssey,
small,
when you
like,
throw your hat on those
challenges here.
scarecrows. Yeah.
Yeah. So this, and actually, it seems pretty tricky because the guys playing this, they kind of were cutting it less close than I thought they were. But I mean, it's like these little time challenges, which I'm happy about because I was kind of worried that most of the gameplay would just be digging and just running into little like banana gems. But we do get a little bit more, which is nice. And then actually,
Getting our potassium intake today.
shift tree for Smash.
Dude, finally! I wanted Grovile for a while, but I think there are a lot of characters. That's why I want a fully, like, not a soft reboot per se, but there's been so many changes to so many major characters in between the release of the next Smash game that, like, oh man, Samus could have her counter or her more Chozo DNA. Donkey Kong looks like this; it controls differently. Even Peach has a bunch of new powers. Zelda has new powers as well in her individual game. Like, I think there's so much that it doesn't just stop at Ganondorf and Mario. I think all of the major cast that has gone from Melee to Brawl has all experienced some kind of major change in the Nintendo game that I would like to see a lot of those characters change. At least, like, not on a fundamental level, but, like, mechanically most of their moves.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And they all have little buddies now. Any major, cinematic game,
into this little buddy thing.
any PlayStation game, it's always, like, some old dude who has to look after a kid in a dangerous world. Nintendo games now is your Nintendo character, but they also have a little mascot on their shoulder or hanging out next to them. They've really hit the nail. They've cracked the code on video games, so to speak.
Oh, these are like these little squelchy enemies. Also, Donkey Kong eats the ground too, I guess, or was he not eating it? Was he just like pulling on it?
And that took I want to circle back. That took a little bit of his heart, but not all of it, which leads me to believe that it's not even like 3 hit points. And then he attacks it and gets this heart or gets that apple and then gets the health back. Another fossil. I'm still curious as to what the fossils do. It could just again be another collectible, but it seems like there's already a lot of collectibles going on here. But I mean, if they really wanted to replicate DK64, then they're doing it great. If there's 6 different collectibles in each level.
Before we do that,
yeah. So those are squelchy enemies. All right, more squelchies. So it's interesting. One thing I didn't really bring up is that one thing I kind of find cool is that even if you're not attacking the ground, you'll still make impacts on it if you jump from a high enough distance, which I kind of like. I think it kind of really just makes the world feel very dynamic.
Right. Could in theory just destroy the entire level if you want to.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I think in theory you could just destroy the entire level if you want to, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who like do that. I know there's a time lapse somewhere. It's probably in one of these bookmarks. We can go through once we're done with this footage, but Twitch chat says, never play Odyssey. I'd never play Odyssey. I do remember when the Switch came out, my uncle worked at Best Buy, so he bought me to play the demo of the game. So you're saying you haven't played it, or that you wouldn't play? You say, I'd never play. This is interesting. Okay, this is one of the sections you were talking about.
Yeah. So this is one thing I'm excited about. There's a few things I'm excited about. So it's these kind of like weird, kind of like abstract world. You can just hit yourself. You can kind of like belly drum or I guess chest drum or whatever. I'm excited for that. And when you do it while you're climbing on the fence, you do it with your feet.
That is exciting.
I like that a lot. That's very exciting. That means a lot to me. I think I'm that's going to be like very stimulating for me.
Very mechanically important. I'm going to do that in real life while I'm playing the game.
Hearing that sound is just going to make me happy. Like, because Nintendo's good at making sounds that make you happy. So I'm just so excited for that. I just think it's such a cute animation.
That's why in the server I was talking with Ryu about the Alarmo, and I still have the same take. Is like there is no world where I would want to wake up to Nintendo sounds, because all it would do would Pavlov me and like make me hate Nintendo. Yeah. Who likes hearing their alarm? It doesn't care how pleasant the sound is. It's still an alarm.
Nice.
Or stuff on the roof. Also, when he entered this small level section, it seemed like there were like 3... Oh, float back after falling without taking damage. Okay, so that is what that does.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I was thinking that it might not be just like a normal like extra life. It might be a little bit like more nuanced than that.
But yeah, they did say there's 3 bananas here, and it showed you early on. I like knowing how many bananas are in an area. I just like knowing how to collect
Odyssey,
things.
That's actually one thing annoying about Odyssey is that you kind of sometimes I'd have to like walk in and out of a room to see if Cappy's like, I don't think there's any more, moons in here.
But you could also check the map, and it would show you where like you could buy with coins and tell them where a lot of them are. And this one it seemed like you can collect fossil maps. Very clearly.
There's a little thing in the back there, but they don't really check it out. I assume
that's probably where the third banana is.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't bother finding it. Fake gamers.
Also, you can notice there's none of the places for the none of the in the HUD. You didn't see any of the fossils kind of being counted in that area.
It is simply a banana area, and one of the bananas is grayed out.
I was relieved that we were gonna get that to see this, because as I said, I was worried about, what kind of challenges we'd be getting, and I was, because it doesn't seem like so far there's been a lot of intense, platforming sections just by the nature of the gameplay. I mean, they wouldn't want you to basically soft lock yourself out of being able to complete certain parts of the game. So I don't know. I think they have to design these levels with a slightly different philosophy than they usually would for, platforming Mario. And especially because you can also climb and stuff. So there's just a lot of ways of challenging the player in a lot of other games, don't exactly work the same way here, which isn't necessarily, a bad thing, but it's just something different.
There's a lot in this, and also when it comes to Mario Kart, it's not like exclusive to people who play games on stream, but it's something you learn very vehemently when you stream games. Is that the way something looks and the way something feels are often different. So ultimately, we can't really... This looks very Odyssey, by the way. We can't really know the innate gameplay loop of this game without getting our hands on it. Like Mario Kart, I understand. That's why we had a lot to say about that. Like, oh, this is this course, this is this item, this is this character, so on and so forth. This is all new, and we're learning a lot mechanically. I don't know. I imagine you just swing to catch while doing that, and also we saw him spinning with the rock earlier. I imagine you just spin the stick in doing so. But I was talking more about while these are all mechanically important. Wait, hold on. What did they just say?
So here's a crocoid. You saw
That's a crocoid.
Oh, it is. I forgot. Okay.
Yeah. We need him. Can you just beat the shit out of him, or do you need to throw rocks? Interesting that the major enemy, or one of the major enemies, although we did see that Al character of this game, because even in the games in the 2D DK games that had that one Tiki enemy and the Sir something, the giant walrus guy, did those have reptile enemies?
I forget.
Because I feel like we're getting into theory territory, but these reptiles gotta...
I'm a little worried. There just won't be any in this game, but I mean,
no Kremlings.
Might do it somewhere. Yeah, I think there's a decent chance they just won't have any.
Yeah. I mean,
but,
yes.
I guess I'm a little bit of a pessimist.
Very likely. That did look delicious. I don't know about you, but those bananas did look appetizing. So is there more DK footage or more stuff in your notes that you're like, oh, this is worth looking into, or was that? Because I do have a lot of tabs up here. They just rampant speculation.
Yeah, we can start going through the tabs.
Okay, because a lot of this is stuff we probably did discuss. Yeah, ignore that and that. This is somewhere... This is in the trailer or maybe on the website, but this is by Skips on Twitter. It says on Crockwatch, by the way, so maybe we should check out this account. That this silhouette looks a lot like K. Rool. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of Pac-Man in the clouds, hidden Mickeys. All of these tabs are either oh, this is interesting, or this is crazy schizophrenic boasting that the iconography or the building tapestry looks like K. Rool or just other Kremlings. This is the time lapse I was referring to of destroying this level of roots. It's very low quality. I think it's not a GIF. It's a lot you could do. They showed this somewhere. It may have been on the website. It may be good to just... Donkey Kong says, oh, banana. We did see this. This is Treehouse footage. And then official Nintendo site has this message for Voidco. The French website... Okay, so these are different translations. Ignore this. Oh, I'm covering it, but yeah. Just in case we are, in fact, wrong. On Nintendo of America, it says, who is Voidco, and what do they really want? And then the
French website... into a big void.
Yeah, the French website apparently says...
Who is behind
Voidco? Granted... The image it shows is this bird character.
That's a bird?
Isn't it? It's like an owl, right? Or is it a monkey?
I guess I didn't look at it.
I might be wrong. I just saw the eyes and that you're probably right. I thought these were talons. But yeah, there's a lot of that. I think there's a lot of secrets when it comes to this game in general. I mean, we talked about Smallene, and I don't know what is going on here with these blurry ass images. Tell me that isn't K. Rool arm.
Go back. Let's go to the left. What are we even comparing here? I can't even see.
Oh, this might be the same person. This is a very interesting account.
Same guy.
Tell me that isn't K. Rool's arm on this statue. That bracelet is so specific.
Yeah.
It's certainly something. Let's take a closer
it's a bracelet.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is K. Rool specifically. And this is, hear me out. I don't know what this even means. You're the one who saved me.
Okay, go to the right. I guess it's the mismatched eyes, maybe.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, Chip isn't actually Smallene. It's actually going to be revealed that Chip was K. Rool the whole time.
Dude, I'm down for that. I like that idea more than like this game being in the past.
Japanese site for DK Bananza, it clearly states Voidco are mysterious and unknown. So Cranky has to be talking about a familiar foe in the past during that dialogue exchange. Tell Voidco Who is Cranky refer? So at some point,
During
is
a
the
storm,
name
a series
purposely
of pop-
completely unknown. I don't know what they're referring to. I guess like in one of the dialogue change, I do know that Cranky refers to Mario as like, oh, even if they wore overalls, so on and so forth. YouTube chat says,
okay.
I love how water looks in Nintendo games. You should build an account around that, I think. But I don't know what they're referring to, but everyone's talking about a mysterious foe. Okay, so this is the same guy. We'll circle back to this. I love an infographic. I'm going to tell me it's underwater. This game is so fucking cool. So I don't think it's the entire game, but you can see the previous area up here, apparently. Watching DK Bananza gameplay footage. What do you mean Crocoid? What do you mean by that? Well, of course, we know the answer to this. Is the Crocoid are those golden skeletons that wear a stone armor? Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at whatever the fuck is going on here. Interesting infographic. Let's see. The skull shape looks identical to how K. Rool's head is shaped in Smash Ultimate.
Which skull shape?
This skull shape? Because we did see the UI earlier. The collection things on here, and I think the skulls is something you collect. I think this is different from these fossils, or maybe all three of these are different types of fossils.
Well, they are. I mean, one's ammonite, so I assume the other ones are going to be like different named fossil kind of things.
Crocodile skeleton has 4 long digits on each hand, similar to a Kremling and not a real crocodile. Okay. So we're saying that the cartoon characters has 4 fingers and not 5. Oh, which is why that means it's K. Rool for sure. Mm-hmm. The Crocoid enemies look like caricatures of K. Rool. Complete. They should add a K in that for complete. Complete with the pattern on their bodies that not only references the girders from the arcade game, but also a pattern on K. Rool's cape.
What are they even pointing at?
The pattern.
Okay. Oh, I never noticed that on K. Rool's cape. That's cute, actually.
This pattern here.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're seeing the crocoids. You know that the golden bones. Does this stance look familiar? How about the fact that its arms are longer than its legs? I mean, this is the inside of the crocoid. Yeah, but why are they gold?
But its legs are way more crossed, or at least a little bit more kind of like bent. Its knees are a little more bent than the Kremling. I don't know.
Why are they gold skeletons? Cranky is lamenting how current rivals don't have as much charisma as the one from his day, i.e. Mario. In my day, rivals had charisma, even in overalls. I don't think this references K. Rool at all. I think this is just talking about the enemy of this game. Oh, but wait a minute. Hold on. Smash Bros. Ultimate, the trailer they showed for K. Rool and DK, it's titled The Rivals. They're actually hinting that K. Rool is going to be playable in Rivals of Aether. Where was I? If Cranky already knows who the Banana Bandit is, it can't be the new villains from Voidco. When I heard there was a Banana Bandit on the loose, I knew who to blame. Just had to suss out where he ran to hide. Okay, or K. Rool just knows about this monkey character who's the villain. And this is from someone's hands-on footage. What a rotten crook. How does a fool like that command any respect? Like Commander K. Rool?
I don't know.
It's not spelled the same. And then this is an image of this. This is probably a direct reference. This is in fact a direct reference.
Yeah, definitely.
But these are more of just vague references
I think it's a little bit
to DK canon. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to call this out, but I do want to look more.
We
into
love
this
you. We
account.
love Skips. We love Croc Watch.
Mm-hmm.
We're here for joy. We're here for love. I'm not super convinced yet. I hope he's right though, because I do want K. Rool to come back in some capacity, because it's literally been years. It's been decades actually.
Yeah.
Like, when was the last? I mean, in Smash Bros. But when was the last main official K. Rool appearance? It's been a good minute.
Well, what do you constitute official? Because he was in Mario Sluggers.
In a Donkey Kong game. It's probably not the mid 2000s. Probably Barrel Blast.
Yeah. This is specifically Expedition gameplay. Anyway, those are all the wild theories. I did not know before going into that. They're all sort of by the same person. But you know what? I'm going to... Hold on, where is he? I'm going to shoot this guy a follow. I need to know more eventual K. Rool information. If Papa Gino's follows, then I'm all on board with this. I got to get info. We could definitely... I think Papa's definitely within our grasp if we want to talk about Smash Bros. Again.
Oh, Papa Gino? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got to heal my inner child, as people say when they're talking about Shane Dawson or whatever. Odd Rock Chip's eyes look like K. Rool gem as well. K. Rool's gem?
Let's hop right into it.
Oh, you mean like the red? Or no, this is a blue gem.
And I'm just gonna wander.
Okay. Sure. It's interesting that we're focusing mainly on K. Rool, which hasn't been shown off at all, as opposed to the small lean discrepancy that is still right here that we do. But I guess there's not much more we can learn about that.
Yeah.
Is your favorite map?
I really don't know.
a hidden void
There's bananas and fossils.
So there's
But it doesn't have the
more
other
than one void
collectibles.
stake in
Oh, there's
the
like different
void,
level of terrain strength as well.
Yeah.
Levels. You can. Oh, thank God you can place pins. That's the other thing is like before when I was saying like, oh man, going back to those older 3D Marios, like Odyssey, it can't just be the best one due to recency bias. And then I was playing the older ones. I'm like, actually, you know what? There's so many quality of life changes in Odyssey that make it like the best one. And that's how I feel about 2D Metroid as well. I don't think I could go back and play a 2D Metroid that doesn't have waypoints. Like that changes everything. Being able to put pins in the map.
I can stomach Super Metroid still. But no, one thing that just reminded me, all things considered, like I can't think of like a single thing in Odyssey that's like frustrating. You know what I mean? Maybe a couple little things, but like you know, I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, I think some of the older 3D Mario games, there are things that are like a little bit annoying to do.
Yeah,
not
or
usually
at the very
end of
least,
the world,
like,
but I think it's so hard for there to be like a dull moment in Odyssey just based on the kind of just very satisfying consistently. I guess the only thing that I hate is like maybe like sometimes like when you're like really wrapping up a level and you just like are like looking for like 3 purple coins that are just like hidden somewhere and you just can't find them. I mean, that's stuff like that, but I think Odyssey is just so consistently rewarding that I don't know. It's
and there's a stark difference with like, oh, you can use your coins to buy moons as opposed to like collecting the blue coins in Sunshine to get the rest of the shines. Because the blue coins are so... I find them incredibly annoying. And that goes out into the void. I want to destroy the entire level. I think that's the most traversal. I imagine that the latching on to the mountain itself is the same input as the grab or the strike. So it seems jump. We haven't seen any more of that singing mechanic with the left trigger. But I think this gameplay, it says Expedition gameplay, but I'm pretty sure it's the same level. So they're holding a lot. This is presumably what you were saying, theorizing that this is probably the level immediately following like the opening with the mining sequence. So it seems like there is a lot to this game that we simply... I do like the sub-layers, though, that it's kind of the anti-Donkey Kong. Or rather, an inverse of that like the original Donkey Kong game, you need to slowly climb your way up to get Pauline from Donkey Kong. And now Donkey Kong has to climb his way up to get the bananas. Also, you're collecting them around the map. I have no clue what's going on here, but that's your fast travel. Oh, because those are the checkpoints. I don't know why that happens, but we know that it does. But I forget what I was saying.
I do kind of like that as a way.
Oh yeah, just rather that they're keeping a lot of it. Like Mario Kart World, it seems like we saw 3 cups. I also, we might as well get into it, like, because this is after our Mario Kart podcast, but before the Direct. That I could probably find that bookmark tweet as well, if you want to live commentate what Donkey Kong's doing right now.
All right, so we saw this in the last episode. We can see the kind of face of the main villain of the game, or at least who I assume is the main villain. And we get the little thing, and I think this is how you get down to like the lower levels. I don't think they're going to go into it, or they might. It depends. I assume they're just trying to focus on
the camera mode.
Yeah, there's also a photo mode. There's a photo mode. You know, they love having the photo mode, and it's really just
all
them
their
showing
games
off.
now. Oh, it says Void. I never... Oh, but it's like Hazard Tape. And also Void Co. is the name of the company. He's really digging into it. Anyway, I saw this thing, which is Mario Kart World Continent, maybe the one under the title logo, so there are still 2 continents. The map we see of Mario Kart World looks to match the one on this logo, and it has 2 more major continents. So I think this might be like an X and Y situation where it's like, oh, you see something up there, it's going to expand and you could see it. But
it just doesn't.
Yeah,
like
maybe
callous.
It doesn't, or maybe they just update it over time, because it's also like Mario Odyssey where they saw Isle Delfino and they're like, oh, they have to add it at some point. I do think there is a lot of Mario Kart World still not shown to us. They have to warrant it being the $80 price point. And we know that the Switch 2 UI is the same, and the options are the same. They even still have the same Mii options, like hidden in the options menu. Which is...
Yeah. I was a little disappointed about that. I kind of wish they kind of spiced things up a little more.
I just wish they would shift over to the in-game creator and then have like, oh, Miitopia and Tomodachi, whatever, any games that use that should be able to use the same like transferred save data, as opposed to having the Mii, because like you still use Miis in Smash Bros, in Mario Golf, in Mario Kart, like you still use them for a lot of games. There was that another very blurry, far out picture of, oh, are there Miis in Mario Kart? And we looked at the account, and it was one that just posts about Miis nonstop. I want to say also, I say this with love. I'm not dunking on these people. I find looking at blurry images as a part of speculation so much more fun than like reading text leaks from 4chan. I think it's really fun to like squint at something in the background and be like, oh, could this be King K. Rool? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Is that K. Rool's skull?
This looks awesome.
I love how Donkey Kong looks in this game.
Yeah.
Like, I was like a little worried. It's different. It's a different thing. But now you can do that. You can do that.
But yeah, in the schedule of time and of games, I think there's still a lot more we have to learn about Mario Kart World. And like we said, or rather the point I was getting to is that if the footage we've seen of this game is the opening and the first level, and people seem to think that K. Rool or more Kremlings are in the game, jury's still out, and we know that there is a character that we have not been introduced to yet in Smallene, that it seems that they're hiding a lot of this game from us, whether that be because they want to show off. Go ahead.
They might be doing a Donkey Kong Bonanza direct. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that, actually. I don't know why that occurred to me.
I would kind of prefer to just like go in blind and play it nonstop. Because that's what I was gonna say is like those are the schedules that are gonna take up. I want to try and finish Doom: The Dark Ages when it comes out. He didn't get to eat his banana. They said be right back, but in the playlist that is all the Donkey Kong Bonanza footage. That is everything we would have to say, or rather discuss, or go over in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Do you have any closing remarks in reference to Donkey Kong?
Not really. I'm very, very excited. I think it looks like a great game.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have no doubts that I'll like be beating it within days.
Yes.
Unless there's really just so much content. Like it might take a couple weeks to like 100%, but if it's anything like Odyssey, it'll probably be like 5 or 6 hours to beat the main story in like 30 if you want to do like literally everything.
Well, that's what I wanted to say is that like I do have other games on the side. Like I can finally finish the countdown because I've been playing a different Switch game every Thursday since like last summer. It's coming up on a year, and now I can finally stop that because the Switch 2 will be out. I really thought by the summer of last year, I'm like, okay, well, surely this will come out soon. And I was right, evidently, soon, quote unquote. And we're doing this podcast on Monday, every Monday, except for the next 2 weeks, which they will be Super Tuesday episodes. Join us on Tuesday. But other than that, like I have 3 stream days, and I want to finish Monster Hunter Wilds. And I did a donation goal last year to play Chibi Robo. The chat bought it for me. I want to get through that. It's not a very long game. And also Doom: The Dark Ages, I want to get a decent amount of that in. Because once the Switch 2 comes out, if I can get my hands on it, assuming that the pre-order happens in early May, I'm just going to be playing Mario Kart predominantly, nonstop for a month, until Donkey Kong comes out, and then shift over to that. And in the interim, maybe doing some Tears of the Kingdom, maybe some Dragon Drive, some Welcome Tour. I just know that first stream is going to be a big one. And I think slowly over time, they're going to drip feed. Like every month will be either, a big game, or it will be a Switch 2 edition, so on and so forth. Because again, we know that Tomodachi Life and Rhythm Heaven come out next year in 2026. So as people talk about Pokemon, there is a chance that I think next year is Pokemon's 20th anniversary? No, 30th anniversary.
30th.
Next year is Pokemon's 30th anniversary, and for their 20th, they released Sun and Moon. So I think that like Gen
10 is pretty likely for the 30th.
I would want to enjoy Legends, but we have, as far as like major Nintendo games coming out this year, right? It is Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, Metroid, Pokemon, Welcome Tour, Dragon Drive, Kirby Air Riders. Dedicating those to like all those different months, let's say like June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I did my math way wrong, but there's other stuff coming out. We know that the Forgotten Land is going to have additional Switch 2 edition stuff. I'm pretty sure, let me check this just to be sure, because I could be very wrong. I didn't actually confirm this. Of the Switch 2 editions, I think we should, if there is enough to talk about Mario Kart World next time, maybe dedicate an episode to the Switch 2 editions, because I think there is a lot to say there.
No, that's a good idea. I agree.
But I want to see Switch 2 edition's release dates, because I've been going off the assumption that the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom would come out launch day of the Switch 2, but I could be wrong. Jamboree says July 24th, so that's the same month as Donkey Kong. Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus Jamboree TV. That title sucks. Okay, no, Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition is June 5th, so that will be at launch. Kirby and the Forgotten Land,
interesting, is August.
Star Cross World is August 28th. Right, so maybe
Prime, they haven't given us a date, which is crazy.
Well, Zelda is coming out the same time as Mario Kart, and Mario Party is coming out the same time as Donkey Kong. So I would still say we're probably going to get Dragon Drive in August. So maybe every month we get New Game and also Switch 2 Edition to, like, pad out their library. And then beyond that, we have Metroid Prime, Legends EA, and Kirby Air Riders. Dragon Drive actually says TBA 2025. No, I could be wrong. Maybe it didn't say summer 2025. Dusk Bloods is 2026.
When is the GameCube Classics being released? Go back up.
Well, that comes out the day of the Switch,
Okay,
but like
cool,
they're
yeah,
gonna
I
drip
forgot
feed
about that.
games. I think they said it starts.
Yeah, it's like literally just gonna be F-Zero GX and like
F-Zero, Wind Waker, and Soul Calibur. Regardless, when the console launches, I will be playing F-Zero, Wind Waker, Soul Calibur, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Kart, Welcome Tour, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Maybe that indie game with different controls, but the rest, like, we just gotta wait for them to come out. It still is very strange that we do not have a release date for Pokemon and Metroid. I feel like we've been saying this all year, but I think I would hazard a guess there's some kind of direct in the summer, even though, again, April, like, we just got one at the beginning of April, but if there is one in the summer, it might not literally be June.
Yeah, I think, like, either regarding the Pauline thing, I would still guess there's either going to be a Donkey Kong Direct, or just kind of like an early July or late June Direct.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. There's more additional information, but I think we've covered everything we can. I will continue to bookmark tweets that I find interesting if people mention things. I do have some more about Mario Kart, but we will see the scale of that Mario Kart Direct, and then we will decide what the next Super Tuesday episode will be. It might just be entirely Mario Kart again. The more they release games, the more we'll have to discuss, the more speculation, especially when it comes to games like Smash or even like Mario. Maybe we'll get more experts on here. We'll get other people to talk. I'm sure we'll get sick at each other at some point. But for now, I have been your co-parent, BH Ultra.
I have been your co-parent, Switchy.
And we will be back next week, same time, but for a Super Tuesday episode of Switch 2 Ultra.